Welcome to the Godless Rebelution podcast. Today, as our guest, we have Dan Ellis, president of Atheists of Utah, and we will be discussing last week's American Atheist Convention and some news topics. So, let's get started.
So we're here in Salt Lake City. Just got done with the American Atheist Convention. Wanted to talk to Dan about some of the speakers there, some of the stuff we took away from the convention. Had a bunch of big names. We had Chris Cluey. Jamila Bay was a fantastic MC. I thought she did a fantastic job.
A little blast from the past.
That was our very first episode, which was a year ago.
1 year ago.
Yay. We've been around for a year now.
We almost have one tooth.
We're starting to figure some shit out, man.
Do you ever guys feel it painful to go back and listen to old episodes?
Oh, yes.
For sure.
I find it painful to listen to myself, period.
Some of our episodes where the guests were like leaning way back from the microphone, and then they get really close to the microphone and they talk like this.
And then they just eat it.
Yeah, where you couldn't hear half of the shit that they were saying.
And we were...
Or the one where people were going away from the room texting. And
Yeah.
I don't know which one that one was, though.
Having their
What episode was that?
playing little guitar things on the springs here on the microphones and slamming their keys around, answering fucking phone calls in the middle of the podcast, getting up, going out for a smoke.
Happy anniversary,
Hey, Dan,
guys.
where do you live again? Is it okay if I have friends come over?
What's your address? It's a party, right? No, it's not a party. We're doing some shit, man. Well, welcome, everybody. You're listening to the Godless Rebelution. I'm Dan Ellis.
I'm Ryan Duffy.
I think maybe we should never tell anybody who that is.
I just don't know why we feel the need to introduce ourselves every week.
Because there
'Cause you
might
got
be
new
a new
listeners.
listener.
Yeah.
They might not recognize my
Well, then
voice.
fucking catch up.
How dare you jump in on this podcast not listening to all of them before?
This is only episode 48.
Is it 48?
I thought last week was 47, so this should be 48.
Yeah. Tonight
That's
we
about
we have a special guest.
Special guest. I mean, he's not special in that way.
Not really.
You're special.
I'm special.
We have with us tonight Mr. Chris Reed.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Chris.
Hi. Glad to be here.
Chris is a atheist here in Utah who is also an admin for the Atheists of Utah Facebook group. We get to herd those cats,
And talk shit.
talk shit.
Pretty much.
You're part of the Utah Atheist group?
Yeah.
Do you guys get called that all the time, right?
All the time.
I mean, I'm a member, but I'm not an admin, so
Yeah. Yeah, the Utah
I just hear people refer to it
Atheists,
that way. Yeah.
or the Atheist Association of Utah. Or,
Really?
Yeah.
They add words?
I'm
Yeah,
getting,
oh yeah.
You know, like Life of Brian, you know, the Palestinian Liberation Front. And
Oh, yes.
the Liberation... Wait, no, it's the Liberation Front of Judea and the People's Liberation Front of Judea or some shit like that.
Splitter!
They end up killing each other.
That is a great show.
I love that. I fucking love that movie.
Yeah.
How shall we fuck off, oh Lord?
You ate my juniper berries. I haven't talked for 17 years.
Would you shut up?
Didn't we have an episode where we were slipping into Monty Python style voices at one point?
Probably.
I think I was reading a news something or other and never mind.
Probably.
I think so.
I love Monty Python.
Biggles. Dickles?
What is so funny, Centurion? Do you think it's funny when I say my friend's name?
Throw him to the floor.
Biggest
Whether waffly. Strike him, Centurion.
fuck, I need to watch that movie again. It's been too long.
I actually looked to buy that one on Amazon.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't there.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, not even I couldn't even find the DVD to buy.
Really?
But you can find it at Walmart for like $2.
Probably.
You sure we can find that one at Walmart here in Utah?
In one of the big bins of things
Maybe.
there in the middle of the Walmart. Probably.
Possibly.
Possibly.
I mean, you can find the meaning of life and the Holy Grail everywhere, but Life of Brian is hard to find.
They've got a lot of those soundtracks on Google Play Music. And I've been listening to them at work and really annoying my coworkers with that one.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Reed.
Let's see. I am a website owner of a website called watchplayread.com. We do movie, music, video game reviews and stuff. We're just a geek website based mostly out of here in Utah and Pacific Northwest. We have a bunch of people in Oregon and Washington. But the other thing I do mostly is in my free time I run. So find me on facebook.com/marathondad. I'm trying to run 2,015 miles this year to raise money for the Atheists of Utah.
Woo!
Wow.
Marathon Dad.
Marathon Dad.
Facebook.com.
Facebook.com/marathondad, or you can find me on marathondad.com, but I haven't updated that site in about a month. So
2,000 miles?
2,000 miles in this year.
So, and you're going to do that all like just on roadways around Utah? I'm
Yeah,
guessing?
I've done a couple of races. I did the Lagoon Half Marathon. I've done the Salt Lake Full Marathon. Got the Ogden Marathon coming up in a couple of weeks. There's a Hill Air Force Base half marathon I'm thinking about jumping into. I've got a full race calendar. I've got just about something every month until the end of the year. So
Wow. So you're doing half marathons and shit.
the halves are the fun ones.
Yeah. Do you lose toenails when you do a half marathon?
You guys want to see? I actually have a missing toenail right now.
No. Do you seriously?
It's fucking amazing. Like I finished the marathon from Salt Lake, and I felt fine. Nothing turned black. You know, none of the toenails started turning black or anything.
Yeah.
But I felt like, man, there might be a blister under this one. So I started clipping one of my toenails, and like as soon as I did, this is going to be gross, everybody, but blister juice shot out like onto my computer monitor at work, and I was just like, oh well, that's going to come off here.
You're
in a day or so.
clipping your toenails at work?
I work grave shift, man.
Like I do what I want.
I do whatever. I do what I want.
Clipping your toenails at work.
I turn away from everybody. They
That's-
don't see it.
That's the. Do you also reheat fish in the microwave?
No, I'm not that asshole.
What about cook eggs in the microwave? Because that's bad too.
No, we actually have computers that are hot enough that I can just set my eggs on top of it. That it does a pretty good job of warming them up for me.
Wow.
But let's see.
Why do you? So why? Do you know what causes that? The toenail thing.
Rubbing
Like,
against your shoe, rubbing against your sock over 26
So
miles.
is it that you get like a blister underneath?
Yeah,
the
that's what
toenail?
this one was. Is that it became a blister underneath the toenail bed, and so I mean it didn't hurt. I mean it might have hurt for a second while I was running, but you know you just kind of put it out of your head. And so when you finally go to get the toenail off, it just starts clipping deeper and deeper and deeper until you're all the way at the tip, and you're like, oh well, there's nothing else to get. I might as well just pull the rest of it out.
See you later, Mr. Toenail.
Bye, toenail.
That's proof that running is bad for humans.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
Jesus. Well, I've heard
I've lost count of blisters. I've lost count of all sorts of other shit. I own stock in moleskin nowadays, I swear. Because I've ran every single day since the beginning of the year. I haven't missed a day. I even pre-ran before coming here tonight. So
Oh, yeah?
Really?
so I could have pizza and beer. And
Right.
so when I get home tonight, I don't have to worry about, oh shit, I better go out in the neighborhood and do 7 miles. Ooh.
Wow.
So how long does it take to run like 7 miles?
Hour 20,
That's
about an
not
hour
too
15, something like that. It's about 11, 12 minutes a mile.
Yeah.
I could do faster and better, but I weigh a lot. I mean, so anybody listening to this that thinks they can't run, I weigh almost 260 pounds, and I run marathons, so you don't have an excuse.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that is interesting.
I have really bad knees. That's my excuse.
they make all sorts of cool things you could put on your knees to cover up that shit.
Yeah.
Cool braces or just get a
Braces
shot.
and-
Yeah.
yeah, go get cortisone shots. Yeah, that'll be fun.
I've heard those are a really good time. Like if you have nothing to do and you're just looking to have a fantastic time.
Oh yeah.
Going for a cortisone
That's what
shot.
I call Tuesday. You know,
You know, I mean, I've been to plenty cortisone parties.
I've thought about it because I've got a pretty wicked case of plantar fasciitis right now, which is like the just imagine like the tendons that join your toes to your heel, like closer to the heel. It feels like you have like a
On the bottom side, though.
yeah, it sucks, dude. It's like when you get up from sitting down after a while, like it's just immediate pain when you stand up because the tendon hasn't stretched in a while. It sucks, but
This sounds like everybody should take up running.
it's
Yeah, I know.
stupid.
Listen to all the things you're missing out on. All these
Yeah.
wonderful, fabulous.
But
Although-
you find a cause, you find something to get dedicated in. You just want to challenge yourself. I mean, I didn't start out doing marathons and half marathons. This is like my 3rd year of running.
Yeah.
I started out doing 10Ks, 5Ks and stuff, and then by the end of the year I was doing a marathon, and I was like, "Oh, that's the biggest challenge I'll ever do in my life." And now I'm like, I'm doing 6 of them this year.
That's pretty awesome, though, really.
It is really awesome.
But it's fun though. Once you find the fun in it, you find a way to have a good time at it. And I was going to do it anyway with the just challenging myself for the year. And I figure, well, if I'm going to do it, there's people that raise funds for doing a half marathon. Why not raise funds for doing 2,000 stupid miles throughout the year?
Jesus,
I'm kind
that's
of
a
weird
lot of
though.
miles.
I'm weird. Like I don't like to find the fun. I like things like Far Cry that make me have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, finding
Well,
the fun
for me, it was a getting off the treadmill and everything and going into the neighborhoods. And like when I run at nighttime. So it's like getting able to see sights and shit at like the middle of the night when nobody else is outdoors. It's just kind of cool that like it's almost like your own personal Utah. Like there's nobody else around.
Yeah, you don't got to worry about running over little kids.
Well, I saw
Dogs chasing you.
and Dan knows the area where I live, where he used to live. Like it's still a thing to see random deer, like in the neighborhoods. And I was running the other night, and there was a deer that came across the running path I was on. It scared the living fuck out of me, but because I have the headlamp on, and when animals turn their heads towards you, you see glowing eyes,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so when it's not like when it's not a cat like on the running
Right,
path,
right, right.
it's something that's like 3-4 feet tall. You're like, what the fuck is this?
yeah, it was probably 3 years
Mothman.
ago.
Yeah.
That road, what is it? Like 2170 south or whatever.
Yeah.
It was that road that runs up to 1000 west or whatever it is there from where my old house was. I saw a deer on that road like half a block from my house.
And-
I got up to go to work one day driving down the road and I was like, what the fuck? It's
like,
a
whoa.
big goddamn duck. No, that's
a fucking deer.
Deer. Fucking in my neighborhood. That's kind of weird. Like that was the That was the only time I'd actually seen one like there in the neighborhood, but I would guess that they're on that biking trail.
Well, and the
shit.
trail that I take sometimes, you see all sorts of wildlife. You see rats and shit on the path. You see, I saw a bat one night that scared the fuck out of me because being brought up a staunch Southern Baptist kid, I got filled with a demon fear as the little kid. And so when you see a giant bat land in a tree, you think, oh, it's a demon coming to take my soul.
Do they?
I'm like, well,
Well, better lower the level on that one.
Do they have that belief, the Baptists?
Yeah, the Baptists. Well, I couldn't say all of them, but the ones that I was brought up around thought that if you let evil into your life, you're leaving yourself a vessel to be inhabited by demons and shit, and you need to have them exorcised from you.
Oh, and you mistook a bat for a demon?
Well, I mean, I can't help when I'm out late at night. Sometimes you see weird shit or shadows playing mind tricks on you, and you're just like, "Oh God, it's something this," and it's like. The rational side of me goes, no, it's not that.
I misunderstood. I thought there was some connection with bats.
No,
But
no.
it just happened to be that you saw that.
I saw some weird shit, and it scared the fuck
out
out of me. Leathery wings landing in a tree and walking along the tree. It kind of freaks you out a little bit.
They're a little creepy. They're cool as shit, though.
They're cool.
Yeah,
they're
I
warm.
think they're
nice
neat.
little mammals, but
they're a
still
big
freaks
part
you
of
the
our
fuck out.
ecosystem.
I like bats.
That's cool.
Because I really hate mosquitoes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Fuck
Who likes mosquitoes?
Well, what I'm saying, bats.
They sure are fun to scratch.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I'm just
bats.
saying, that's why I love bats.
Yeah, bats
Thanks,
eat
Ned
a
Flanders.
shit ton of mosquitoes.
Yeah.
uh,
Oh, I didn't catch that.
so I used to live in some apartments in Layton, just off of Gordon and Maine, there in Layton, across from where Reams is.
Yep.
We lived on the 3rd floor, so to get up to the 3rd floor, you had to walk up one flight of stairs to the 2nd floor,
To the
turn
third floor,
around, walk up another flight of stairs to the 3rd. So I walk up, we'd been out. I think we'd gone to the bar or something. Come home, and I walk up the first flight of stairs, and outside everybody's door, they used to have these little like metal clips, right? So that if you were late on your rent or whatever, they could just clip something.
They'd leave those
next to
passive
the
aggressive
door.
notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if the city had come through to give notices, whatever. Everybody had these little clips outside their door where you could just clip shit. And I walked up the first flight of stairs, went around the corner, and I saw some little thing on top of this clip, and it was about 3 inches long, couple inches high, inch and a half, couple inches high, just sitting on top of this clip. And I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And
Just a sitting?
just a sitting.
Just a sitting.
Just
I
a
thought I
sitting
caught
on
that
top
in
of
there.
this clip.
I got you, man.
And so I went around the corner. I was like, wait, what the fuck is this? So I turned back around. I'm getting closer and closer. And, I get about maybe a foot away from it. And it just kind of moved a little bit. And it was just this tiny little fucking bat laying sideways on top of this clip. And it freaked me the fuck out. So I screamed like a little kid, like, ah! And my wife at the time came up behind me. She's like, "What? What's going on?" And I was like, there's a little bat there. Look, it's fucking freaky.
Just a sitting.
And then just sitting there. And then we just stood there in front of the basement neighbor's apartment door at like 2 a.m. for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes just watching this little bat sitting on top of the thing. It was really cute, though, after a little while.
Yeah, once you get over the fear of bats, it's not like they're actually going to come suck your blood or do anything bad. Yeah, they're not really,
It's
bad-looking little
cute.
guys.
Yeah, it's kind of cute.
Was that a joke? Because there are vampire bats.
Yeah, but how often are they sucking on people's necks like that people think is going to happen?
I mean, it's not like
and they live in a small area in the central South America.
Usually feed on cows and deer
yeah.
and large mammals.
No, but to say that it's not like they're going to suck it. Well, yeah, I mean, some do.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like you think in the movies where people are fearing that.
It's not like Bram Stoker where they're swarming you and
Right? No.
you turn into a bag of bones when they're all done.
Yeah, they suck all your blood out. And
Now, apparently, you never feel it either.
It'd
So-
be fucking cool if we had shit like that.
So I'm looking at your post here. It says
Yeah.
that you still have 638 miles.
No, I've done 638
yeah,
of
yeah.
the year so far,
Okay.
and I have 1,300 left for the year, and I've got 200 and some odd days to do it.
So
the best
I would
days-
look at that and say that looks like you're ahead of schedule, right?
No, I'm actually behind.
Oh, are you?
I had a nice little padded, a nice little a comfort zone that I could be into. But before marathons, they tell you to taper it off. Like, and I was running 40 miles a week or so every week, and since the new year started. And they say, okay, we'll do like 2 miles and then 2 miles and then nothing until the marathon. And I'm like, well, I can't do nothing. I got to do at least one, So I'll get on the treadmill or go out in the neighborhood. And so like it got to be like right around the marathon, I was doing like 20, 30 miles a week. And so I lost nice little buffers that I had. And so now I've got to work really hard at building that back up again.
you should just not listen to those marathon experts. I mean, what do they know? Just run every day if you want.
I had the worst run doing Salt Lake, though. I was like hitting like 13-minute miles like for the whole thing. And that's slow as shit. I mean,
So why do they tell you not to run ahead of time?
to build up your glycogen stores within your by your liver and stuff. So
What's the
that
glycogens?
well, it's
sugars?
it's easy to convert sugar within your body.
Okay.
And so because when you ever heard about people hitting the wall?
Yes.
That's because they no longer have any sugar within their body to burn. They're starting to convert fat into sugar, and so that's when you kick into that. That's when you hit the wall, and usually most people give up and quit around then.
Right, which is why they don't lose weight when they run.
Yeah, and so what happens is like when you train for long distance races like this, you're training your body on how to slowly convert fat into glycogen and to keep it stored within like next to your liver, so that whenever you're running, it has an easy to tap source of sugars for your body to convert. And so you're essentially just working at it. So like if you came off the street and just decided to run a half marathon, you would be hating life within like the first 4 or 5 miles. But if you train up,
I'd be hating life so much earlier than that.
but when you train up for it, it gets you ready for it. And so
When you train up a child.
yeah, beating the shit out of them, garden hose, sack of oranges.
So you train up to do this.
Yeah.
And so how long? So you said they say run a couple miles here, a couple miles there, and then nothing until
the race.
like how long a span is it?
Like it was
between
supposed to be
running
3 or 4 days of a rest day,
Oh yeah.
and I don't take rest days. I do 1 or 2 at least a day, just because it's only like 20 minutes of your day.
Yeah.
You should be able to squeeze 20 minutes to do something. If you got enough time to squeeze into FAP, you should be able to be able to run.
There's so little effort required for a.
I know, right? But this is me. This is my own stupid goal that I decided to do at the beginning of the year.
No, I
so-
think this is awesome. I think this is so. I noticed too. It says I'm currently at 254 weight wise, which
Yeah.
isn't much different than a week or so ago. What were you when you started this effort?
When I started this year, I was at like 262 or something like that. I haven't really been focusing on losing weight. I've just been trying to get the numbers
Trying
in.
to get the miles in.
Trying to get the miles in, trying not to injure myself. I mean, if I really wanted to push towards a crazier goal of like hitting like a Boston Marathon qualifying time, which would be having to run 26 miles at like 7.5 minutes each.
Jesus.
Yeah, you have to hit like 3 hours and 30
That's
minutes.
like actual running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not just jogging and having a good time listening to podcasts and music. And so,
Wow.
I wonder
But, I mean,
if
when-
the Bushmen would qualify.
when I first started running in 2012, I weighed 310 pounds.
Wow.
And so I've whittled my way down to like 227 at one point, and I was feeling pretty good at that. But that was me not having any fun with having a couple of beers, having pizza,
Not
no
enjoying
ice
the
cream,
finer things in life.
not having a cookie. You
Yeah.
just look at cookies and you're like, fuck, I wish I could eat that.
The cookie looks really good.
Yeah, I don't have a cookie. I have a box of cookies.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, obviously.
I know. Says the fittest guy in the room.
says the 80-pound waif.
I weigh 220.
Yeah, but
You know-
you're 6'2".
Yeah. I weighed 220 just after high school.
I weigh 220.
I weighed
I'm
100.
5'10".
I weighed 180 when I was 9 years old. I was a big fucking kid.
Whoa,
Yeah.
holy
So,
shit, that's huge.
I was a big fat kid.
When you were 9?
yeah,
Wow.
My 14-year-old son doesn't even weigh that, and he's big. for
I
his
had
age.
like,
not fat, but
from junior high on, I had every coach trying to get me to play ball, and I was like, no, I want to be in drama.
yeah.
That's okay. No, I'm gonna focus on my studies and just do drama.
I was always this rail thin, tiny little stick figure kid until high school. Until high school and football and two-a-days,
Oh, yep.
and then eating like 20,000 calories a day just to try to
Try to keep up.
keep up any kind of energy at all.
And then I found weed.
And then I hurt my knees playing football and had knee surgery and was on my back for 6 weeks. And then my wife got pregnant.
Yep.
and-
Yep.
Yeah. And then it was just the downward spiral into the picture of fitness you see before you now.
Did anybody see that picture of Neil deGrasse Tyson from the 70s, I think it was?
When he was
Good
wrestling,
looking guy.
He
That
was
was
fucking
awesome.
ripped.
he was a monster.
He was a dancer too.
I didn't know
For a number
that.
of years. Yeah, he was like a male dancer for a number of years, like a professional.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he did any like club dancing, but I'd kind of play that out in my memory. Like, I could see that.
Dude, that is the freaking epic. Those are awesome 90s pictures.
You
man.
like those?
With the hair, yeah.
Look like a lesbian,
Yeah, dude.
I kind of do.
except for the facial hair.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
Depends on the lesbian.
I didn't say it. That was Dan Ellis.
Yeah. Oh, come on. All of my lesbian friends know that it's true. I'm trying to scroll
yeah, why are we going
skull
through your Facebook?
brack through here for the things and junks. Oh, I'm trying to find. I posted a picture.
Let's
of,
scroll back for those wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can see this.
Oh, there we go. So this was my junior year in high school.
So this picture that
Holy
we're looking
hell.
at, that is not Dan Ellis in this picture.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have a
he
CTR
does-
ring in that picture?
He does have a mullet.
Yeah.
I do have a little bit of a mullet here.
Mullet
little
is,
bit.
is the side shaved?
No,
They're just
Okay,
okay,
it's
back.
just slicked back.
Okay.
Business in the front, party in the back.
That's
A-
right.
all right.
And that's actually that's not even one of the skinny pictures of me. I have another one. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, that's
wow.
that's creepy.
Yeah. I was rail thin, yeah.
That's funny.
Until the footballs and the practices and eating tons of shit and then hurting my knees and
Still eating all the shit.
eating all the shit still because you grow
just got used to
accustomed
it.
to it
Yep.
and
And shit tastes good.
yeah.
Yep, it does.
It does.
Food tastes really good.
I like food a lot. There are many things that I enjoy about food, mainly eating it.
It's one of the things I'm going to miss when I'm dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll be missing much.
Well, I probably won't be missing shit. But
Well, that's awesome though. So
so I've posted every day on the Facebook group every little run that I've done, everything that I've been up to, and the picture you're seeing right here, if you're looking on the video, is a guy that is essentially doubled over on the ground, grasping it as like a hamstring because he's in serious pain. Because I keep forgetting to stretch out. I'm 35. I really should be stretching before doing any kind of physical activity. I usually just get my gear on and just go right out the door and start running. And I usually don't feel a problem until about 4 miles in, and I'm like, "Fuck, this kind of hurts, man."
I usually stretch before getting out of bed.
Really?
I do too. You roll over. You're
Oh
like,
yeah, you got to get those long arm movements and
Yeah, with the plantar fasciitis, I have to stretch my foot before I get out of bed. Otherwise, it's just you're
hurts.
going to double over because it hurts so damn bad when you put all your weight on it.
you're not making running sound.
Yeah,
like,
I'm-
fun
No,
at
I mean,
all,
as long
really.
as you can. I mean, if you're a fat fuck like me that's trying to run, yeah, you're going to get injuries. But if
I'm
you're
actually going to stop running now again.
You're gonna stop running
Now
Yeah.
again.
but there's
now
a
again.
again.
I've stopped many times.
There's something primal about running, and I hate to be one of those guys like, oh, tap into the caveman kind of thing, but we used to have to catch our food by running after it for very long fucking distances. A lot of animals, they don't have the same body makeup that we have, so whenever
I would argue none.
Yeah.
No
exactly.
animals.
And so like they may be able to sprint to get the fuck away from you pretty quick. But if you keep chasing after them, eventually they're going to tire out and they're just going to lay down and die because
this is what I was saying earlier when I said Bushmen. I think you guys interpreted. I think you guys thought I meant George Bush in them.
Oh no, I knew what you were
All
talking
right,
about.
Yeah, like but in Namibia and stuff, those guys they'll because humans have sweat glands. We don't have body hair.
We don't overheat the way that other animals
we can
do.
run in the heat of the day. We can drink water while we're running. We can
we're better
shit,
equipped for it.
Whatever.
And so. Like, you don't see very many
Stamina.
animals that can go... Like, when I did the Salt Lake Marathon, that's the cover picture there with me and my kids. That was
Your daughters are fucking adorable, by
I
the
love
way.
my kids.
Oh my god, they're
kids
so
much.
cute.
But, like, that's me at 5
Dad.
hours and 45 minutes of running.
yeah.
Oh, shit.
And I'm still upright. I'm still chugging along, just going the normal clip, and like, just normal pace. Just get my way to the finish line, and kids are trailing behind me. I got done, and sitting down was about the worst thing I could do at that point, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what you want to do.
Yeah, that's really what I wanted to do, but like I had to really think about, okay, how do you sit again? And that was the picture at the Lagoon Marathon, obviously, but I finished that half marathon in like 2 hours 9 minutes or something like that. But doing a full marathon took like an additional 3 hours and 40 minutes. You think doing just like it's only twice as much as you're doing there? No, it's exponentially harder.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you figure you do half marathon, you're already tired as fuck,
Yeah.
and then throw on a whole other thing like, oh, now I'm starting over while I'm already tired. As
I've
fuck.
done the Salt Lake Half Marathon before, and that was just running through a good chunk of downtown until you hit like Westminster, then you double back towards Liberty Park, and then back to the finish line at Library Square. When you go the full, you go all the way down to like 45th South and like through Sugar House Park and all these other neighborhoods out there. And I'd never realized before doing this race that that Salt Lake was as hilly as it is.
Especially by the Capitol.
Like visiting and hanging
all
out
around the Capitol is really
like hanging out downtown, you're like, oh, this is nice, this is cool, you know. But like when we came down from I can't remember what the City Creek Canyon, and we get past the Eagle Gate, and there's the LDS headquarters building off to the left, off to the right over there. They go, okay, turn left, and so you're going up South Temple for like a mile and a half, and it just starts to ramp up like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then so you hang a right, and you're like, oh, good, nice flat. And you get to go again. You just run for like another mile, and it's like, okay, take another left. And it's like the more lefts that you take, the further up the mountain you're going. And it's a real beating at a certain point. And I mean, I really appreciate people that can really run these things fast. But I hit a hill, and I'm like, oh, I can't do this.
Yeah, because that part of Salt Lake is actually on like the foothills.
Yeah,
yeah.
gorgeous though. I've already signed up to do it again next year. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with me?
That's always kind of perplexed me too. Like people pay to run somewhere.
Yeah, I thought the same thing when I've signed up for Ragnar for like the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And
you're one of those,
you
huh?
think about it, and you're like, you're paying somebody for you to run like 200 miles with a team. Like you're gonna spend the night in a van. You're gonna shit in porta potties or in nature, depending on where you're stuck.
Like you could just do that on your own if you really wanted to.
You're gonna be at like it's gonna be like 2:30 in the morning, and it's your turn to run. You know, you have to put on your like not night vision, but like night gear. You have to put on your like runner vest and your headlamp and your tail lamp and everything. And you're just thinking, why would anybody pay like $140 to do this? Plus gas money, plus like all this other shit
All
that you
your
need
food
to bring with you.
and
You gotta bring
all the other shit.
food, Motrin, you know, drinks. Because you got to bring like at least 3 cases of water when you do this because it's hot as shit in June.
Well,
Sorry.
Yeah.
The guys I know that do it bring whiskey and beer with them. And that's it.
Hey, there's not supposed to be any alcohol on the
Yeah.
course at all.
Yeah.
Nah, the guys that I know that
So
run
easily
it do it
so easy to
shit-faced.
enforce that rule.
Well,
I'm sure.
unfortunately, like every group that I've ran with has always been like ultra Mormon. So, so I always collect their beer tickets, and I'm like, I'm gonna go get beers at the end of this, and so that's been the fun part of it. But I can't wait to get in with a team that does actually drink during the middle of it.
I know them. The hard part is finding out who's going to drive the van.
Yeah. Well, I joined a group on Facebook called the Utah Hash House Harriers. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of these people, but they consider themselves a drinking group with a running problem.
Oh, okay.
And their body is fuck. I haven't done any activities with them, but just watching their Facebook stuff, I'm like, man, I'm glad people don't flag your guys' posts.
Wow. Yeah, I've thought about trying to run, but I joined the Ogden back when I was living in Clearfield and working at Flying J. Joined the Ogden Country Club or Athletic Club or whatever up there. Up there.
You got your own activity, though. You got golf.
Pardon me.
A long walk interrupted.
Yes. A walk wasted, as Twain would say.
Yeah.
But I joined them and I was doing their boot camp thing, and I was okay for like 2 weeks. You know, doing the running and everything like that, and then my knees I couldn't keep up with it.
Now,
I'd go home and my knees were just fucking swollen and huge, and
mine get that afterwards, and then I got to
Yeah.
go sit at work for like 9 hours because
Yeah.
I work graves, and so I tell all my peons to do all the menial work. Like, no, you go ahead and go do server checks out on this floor. I'm gonna sit here.
I'm gonna sit here with bags of ice on my knees.
I'm just gonna say ouch for the next 5 hours.
You'll be fine. So you do a lot of running.
Yeah,
You pre-podcast told us that you moved to Utah from Arkansas.
moved here from Arkansas was the last port of call, I guess, for me before we moved out to the great state of Zion.
And that's because you were a military brat. I'm guessing Air Force.
Air Force
brat?
kid, yep.
Yeah.
The old man found work out here with the contractor working at Hill Air Force Base, and before that we lived in let's see. When I was born, I was at Carswell Air Force Base in Texas. Bible Belt. Let's see. We went to Arkansas, Bible Belt, Mississippi, Bible Belt, Louisiana, Bible Belt.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of years in Germany. Germany was kind of cool because the old man got like a
Not a Bible Belt.
no,
Yeah.
Nope.
bunch of atheists out there. No, but this was during the Cold War, so it was still very much East Germany, West Germany.
Oh, yeah.
Then we moved back from there. Had to spend a year or so living with the grandparents in a city called Pine Bluff, Arkansas, which was just still as racist as you can fucking get. Lived there for about a year while the old man did a remote deployment to Reykjavik, Iceland, and so
Whoa.
yeah, it was like 88, 89 or something like that. Just a little kid. And then we moved from there to Mountain Home, Idaho. And so you go from a place where like you've been around let's just say integrated society in the South. You know, there's a whole bunch of black people, a whole bunch of white people, a whole bunch of Hispanic people, to Idaho,
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
white.
where it's all white.
Yeah.
And the old man was really close to becoming one of those Ruby Ridge
Oh,
kind of anti-Clinton. They're coming for our guns, you know.
Oh, okay.
Kind of crazy religious. I mean, at this point, he was starting to stockpile weapons. You know. Oh, I bought an AK-47 this week, kids.
I have a couple of family members like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so I love guns, but I'm
Yeah.
not going to own any of my own.
All the Bogue rights for president guys.
Man.
Yeah.
So that was about 90, 92, 93. So that was right when Clinton got into office the first time. And so you hear a lot of the rhetoric right now of Obama doing the same stuff. And just I really want to go to one of the Crossroads of the West gun shows just to see the crazy white supremacist paperwork being passed around and how to convert your Mac 90 into an AK fully automatic. And so I've had an interesting life of growing up as a Southern Baptist kid who the old man was what they consider in Arkansas a foot washing Baptist, you know, where your wife is supposed to wash your feet kind of thing. You know, it's the whole Mary Magdalene washing Jesus' feet
Oh,
kind
wow.
of thing. And so going from this like strict Southern Baptist upbringing to becoming an atheist was an interesting journey. And
I bet.
I'm glad I've arrived. You know, and it was
Yeah.
about last year before I joined actually into the actual atheist crowd. And before then, it was just like I mean, I bought the God Delusion when it came out, and I thought I was going to be smitten for it when I picked it up. You know,
Oh, yeah.
you know, just walking around the flight line at Hill Air Force Base doing the job, thinking to my head, because you have a lot of time when you're walking flight lines because you don't have a car. They don't let you.
And they're long walks out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't let you just drive any vehicle up at the flight line on Hill Air Force Base. So
Yeah.
you're walking around a lot for about 30 or 40 minutes between buildings. and you have a lot of time to think.
Uh-huh.
And so that's when I did a lot of my critical thinking and realized this is all bullshit.
Well, I in our little admin chat for the group thing,
Yeah.
I commented that every now and then during a rainstorm or whatever, if I'm outside, there's still something in the very back of my brain every now and then that's like, God's going to hit me with a bolt of lightning, and it's like I have to, and it's something that doesn't. It's not like an active thought. It just kind of pops into my head, and I have to actively work to squash it. Like,
to get rid of those old
you're
teachings.
being a fucking dumbass right now. Like,
I have those in different ways. Not about lightning. That was never a threat, really, in the way I grew up. But just every once in a while, something. I'll be listening to some sciencey thing that's so above my ability to understand that I'm just like, holy shit, there has to be something. And wait, what the fuck am I talking about? I don't know anything about this. Why am I making assumptions? But that does every once in a while that clicks, and I'm like, I see how people can run with that. But
Well, and for
Yeah.
me, it used to be a whole, oh God, I'm going to be struck by lightning, God's trying to smite me kind of thing, to a, go ahead, motherfucker, go ahead and throw lightning at me. I want to see what it is, to nowadays it's like, static moving between clouds is pretty fucking cool. You start thinking about it. It's just neat that you can actually go from those different stages from being, believing
God
to
did it.
angry not believing
Right,
to
right.
just kind of accepting not believing, but just being passive aggressive about
I've always
it,
kind of had both. I've always had the anger, even when I did believe, I would still throw my middle finger in the air and say "fuck you, God" or whatever.
I was never angry at a God because I never believed in a God.
Yeah, well, you're a lifelong atheist.
Lucky.
I know, right?
lucky.
You got to listen to Iron Maiden when you were growing up. Yeah, that's not
Well, actually,
fair.
a lot of Meatloaf.
Meatloaf's
my dad
fucking
was
boss, though.
My dad was a big Meatloaf fan.
I like the meatloaf.
We've been talking a lot in the group,
I would do
especially between
anything
me
for
and Alan
Meatloaf.
Carter. We've been talking about Rocky Horror Picture Show a lot
Oh,
this
yeah.
last week.
Yeah.
So Meatloaf's a big portion of that movie. Well, not a big portion, but one of the best portions of that movie.
I like meatloaf. His name was Robert Paulson.
Yes.
Oh yeah, bitch.
In
tits.
death, does he get a name?
His name was Robert.
Bob had bitch tits. So you grew up Southern Baptist.
Yep. Mom was a hardline Pentecostal. Family of like
really?
6 other kids in the family. Poor as shit, living out in a town called Conway, Arkansas, which about their claim to fame is like they have the Bluebird bus company like out that way, where like most of the school buses on the East Coast are made there. I mean, I think they have
Yeah.
a West Coast one as well. But hearing about my mom and dad both working at that plant for a while before he joined the military, and like it's just weird as shit. She grew up in a town called if you don't know the lingo, when you say like a town is a hollow, like you call it a holler.
Yeah.
Out,
It's in a
out
hole?
the south. So she grew up in a town called Skunk Holler.
Uh-huh.
Nice name.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
And we're talking about a town full of the really hardline, uber Christian people that pray with snakes
Oh,
and fucking glossolalia, speaking in tongues, doing the whole arms raised to Jesus while they're singing their hymns kind of thing. I mean,
Extra crazy.
music's extra fucking awesome, but because it's live music at church, but at the same time, you're like, man, these
You're
people
just
are acting-
psycho.
This is fucking weird. But when you're brought up into it at such an early age, I mean, I'm lucky that we got to go to Southern Baptist stuff because it's just boring, just sitting around, just listening to hymns and just essentially mourning the loss of Jesus. Or being extra giddy at the fact that he's coming back soon. We're gonna see
Any
Jesus
day now.
again.
Any day now.
I hate that.
I've always wondered about that. Like everybody, all the.
Been 2,000 plus years of just any day now.
Oh yeah, well, and all the Christians are like, he's coming back any day now, any day now. But then at the same time, they're warning, if we don't stop, the end of the world is coming. And it's like, isn't that what you fucking want? Like you want Armageddon to come because that's when your Savior's coming.
Well,
You're
It's
gonna
like just
be-
in this last week we had Michelle Bachmann talking about.
that's what I was gonna bring up, yeah.
Obama's bringing about the end of times. It'd be like,
How it's good.
why don't you fucking support him then? Because if
Yeah.
that's what you want,
Yeah. Why do you have a huge fucking problem with this? Because that's like your heart's desire. Why are you so fucking upset about it?
Well, because even in there, I thought she even said like, "Oh, it's a good thing though. It's a good thing that Obama's bringing about the end of time because it's going to bring happy
But he's a
times."
bad man.
Yeah,
He's a bad man for doing it, but it's a good thing ultimately.
The Antichrist.
He's a Kenyan married to a trans woman that.
Yeah. Yep.
Man.
Look out, segue. I actually
wow.
have that story.
Kinda.
Shit. I was trying to do it organically. I forgot you guys call them out.
Yeah, we don't do that.
I try not
that
to
one
call
would have
him
been.
out.
That one was perfect to just remove right into it, but I just can't. I can't do it. So Bachman says Obama will bring about the end of the world and is also offended when he doesn't take her seriously. Now that she's out of Congress,
I'll bet she's offended a lot.
I didn't
realize
like,
you had
does
to take
anybody
serious
take her
crazy.
seriously?
Yeah.
Her state doesn't take her seriously.
Yeah.
This is from JT, by the way. Now that she's out of Congress, she can just say whatever she wants, and given what she said when she was restrained, you can imagine the gold we're getting now. Recently, she said that Obama was going to usher in the end times. Michelle Bachmann and other conservative Christians were outraged after President Barack Obama mocked their predictions that he was hastening the end of the world. Bachmann, a former Republican congresswoman from Minnesota, spoke at length about her apocalyptic concerns in a radio interview earlier this month with a Christian broadcaster. The president made light of her comments at the White House Correspondents' dinner. Michelle Bachmann actually predicted I would bring about the biblical end of days. Now that's a legacy.
Yeah.
That's big. I mean, Lincoln, Washington, they didn't do that.
I thought it was funny.
Then Bachmann said something stranger than usual. She stood by her remarks, although she assured Christians that the end of the world wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. So JT outlines 3 points here by saying, number one, you just said the end of the world wouldn't be a bad thing. You got to have a hand in making laws for many years. Yikes. 2, if it's not a bad thing, how are you using it to criticize the president?
Yeah.
And 3, seriously, you just said the end of the world wouldn't necessarily be bad. The host of the show, Janet Markell, rushed to vocalize her offense. What is there about a godly Christian woman that is so offensive to so many today when they are simply telling the truth as Michelle is?
Michelle Bachmann is a fucking loon.
Oh yeah.
To hear the best take on Michelle Bachmann, I'll just do a plug here. I don't know if it's just a show on that's on anymore. There was a drag queen podcast I used to listen to called Lucky Bitch Radio. And this person her name was Wanda Wisdom, but had the best fucking satirization of Michelle Bachmann. She's like, she's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It was the greatest thing to hear about, from the horse's mouth, how crazy their local lawmakers are. And you wouldn't think of Minnesota being a ultra right-wing kind of place, but they voted her into office.
Yeah. I mean, it's
I think
just
it's all the gerrymandering bullshit.
well,
Yeah.
there's that, but it's also like any of the other states where like I lived in the Twin Cities for a couple years.
Yeah.
And Minneapolis St. Paul is super liberal and progressive and awesome, and
But it's because
and
of
they're really
the
artsy
outlying
and
areas.
yes, but it's so much country in that state that they ain't taking my guns.
But Minnesota's taken a turn for the better after she was gone, and
yeah, and Wisconsin has not.
no, Wisconsin really has not.
Well, Madison's doing well.
Madison is
Well, it's the same
Madison's
story.
done
I
some
mean-
good shit.
Alaska's doing better.
Yeah. Well, didn't they have that stoner kid running for
Who's like,
mayor of Wasilla or whatever?
yeah, I'm running for office, and what's your platform? Well,
Everybody should have weed.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I still say I'm a mom's couch, but I mean, it's cool.
It's cool. My friends and I can hang out and we'll figure how to fix stuff.
I got this suit.
They think they're going to vote for me too.
It'll be awesome.
Politics, man.
So, speaking of Obama,
Yeah.
did you guys-
Correspondence dinner was fucking amazing.
Did
It
you guys
was.
see that?
Luther, the anger translator, was about the highlight of the whole thing.
That was so fucking wonderful. Toward the end, where like he cuts him, Luther, like Obama starts to lose his shit, and the anger translator actually has to like step.
Hey, man,
back
you
and
don't
be
need me anymore.
like, Hey!
You need help.
You need therapy.
Goes to Michelle and he mouths off, he's crazy.
I wanted to play that really quick because it was.
Yeah, let's do it.
I loved it. It was just beautiful.
Oh, wait, one second.
Ryan's got to turn the volume up.
Yeah.
On
I was
the
trying
feed
to
here.
do two things at once.
That's why we said we want to play it really quick.
I forgot to turn it down.
I often joke about tensions between me and the press, but honestly, what they say doesn't bother me. I understand we've got an adversarial system. I'm a mellow sort of guy. And that's why I invited Luther, my anger translator, to join me here tonight.
Hold on to your lily white butts.
In our fast-changing world, traditions like the White House Correspondent's Dinner are important.
I mean, really? What is this dinner? And why am I required to come to it?
That ain't work.
Jim Bush, do you really want to do this?
Because despite our differences, we count on the press to shed light on the most important issues of the day.
And we can count on Fox News to terrify old white people with some nonsense. Sharia law is coming to Cleveland, run for the damn hills. Y'all's ridiculous.
We won't always see eye to eye.
Oh, and CNN, thank you so much for the wall-to-wall Ebola coverage. For 2 whole weeks, we were one step away from the Walking Dead. And then y'all got up and just moved on to the next thing. That was awesome. Oh, and by the way, just if you haven't noticed, you don't have Ebola.
But I still deeply appreciate the work that you do.
Y'all remember when I had that big old hole in the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico, and then I plugged it? Remember that? Which Obama's Katrina was that one? Was that 19? Or what was it, 20? Because I can't remember.
Protecting our democracy is more important than ever. For example, the Supreme Court ruled that the donor who gave Ted Cruz $6 million was just exercising free speech.
Yeah, it's the kind of speech like this. I just wasted $6 million.
I love that. Obama's composure is amazing.
Hillary will have to raise huge sums of money, too.
Oh, yeah.
Back to Western.
She gonna get that money. She gonna get all the money. Khaleesi is coming to Westeros. So watch out. Woo!
The nonstop focus on billionaire donors creates real problems for our democracy.
And that's why we're running for a third term.
No, we're not.
Who the hell said that?
But we do need to stay focused on some big challenges, like climate change.
Hey, listen, y'all, if you haven't noticed, California is bone dry. It looked like a trailer for the new Mad Max movie up in there.
Which I can't
Y'all
fucking
think that
wait for.
Bradley Cooper came here because he wants to talk to Chuck Todd? He needed a glass of water. Come on.
The science is clear. The science is clear. 9 out of the 10 hottest years ever came in the last decade.
Now, I'm not a scientist, but I do know how to count to 10.
Rising seas, more violent storms.
You got mosquitoes, sweaty people on the train stinking it up. It's just nasty.
I mean, look at what's happening right now. Every serious scientist says we need to act. The Pentagon says it's a national security risk. Miami floods on a sunny day, and instead of doing anything about it, we've got elected officials throwing snowballs in the Senate.
Okay, Mr. Okay, I think I got it, bro.
It is crazy. What about our kids? What kind of stupid, short-sighted, irresponsible bull?
Whoa. Hey, what? Okay, no, hey.
What if he talked like that?
I would
Out the
All
whole
the
time.
time. That would be
love it.
awesome.
That would be great. That's something he should have learned from his first 2 years in. Is like,
all
I'm
due
not here to
respect,
make
sir.
friends.
Yeah.
You don't need an anger translator. You need counseling. So now I'm out of here, man. I ain't trying to get into all this.
Go.
That's good, man.
I haven't looked in to see who did his writing for the night, but he had some great jokes.
He's crazy.
Luther, my anger translator, ladies and gentlemen.
So I watch every Sunday. I watch Fox News Sunday and the MSNBC with Chuck Todd. Now I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. Anyway, I watch both of those. I watch the Fox News one just to know what the right wing talking points are going to be throughout the rest of the week.
Yeah,
they played just one tiny little bit of this, and it was
The part making fun of Fox News?
Yeah, it was. It was the part making fun of Fox News, and it was, and, you know, Obama has his anger translator on there to say what he really thinks. And it was like, well, yeah, I'm sure he probably does really think that because you guys are fucking crazy.
Yeah, but I mean,
He also ripped on CNN.
ultimately, though, if you just really distill what the anger translator says, there's nothing terribly objectionable about it.
No, there's really not. And when he talked about, you know, senators on the out on the Senate floor throwing snowballs, James Inhofe,
That was stupid.
fucking dumbass.
Well, yeah, that guy's a fucking moron.
Climate
beer's dropping.
Climate deniers.
Too far out of reach.
That kind of shit really fucking bothers me.
Yeah.
When you have people who should know better, and I'm sure Inhofe probably does actually know better, but he's still out there doing stupid shit like that.
Well, what's worse?
I would say actively denying it and doing stupid shit like that is worse.
Yeah, when you know better and you're lying about it, that's worse.
Yeah.
Well, what about recent events that we just had going on there in the Baltimores?
In the Baltimores?
Yeah. Ferguson Light? Or is it Ferguson 2?
Well, they had what?
Ferguson
It was,
Hard, yeah.
Hard Ferguson.
They had 10 days
full
of civil, peaceful protests.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had 8 hours of pure chaos.
Mm-hmm.
The media focused nothing on but the 8 hours of pure chaos that happened the other night.
Of which was perpetuated by the police
Where
officers.
the police were throwing
Right.
rocks at the citizens?
Right.
Yeah, that happened. But
I know.
there was also
Let's
the
not poke a
thing
beehive or anything.
Right.
where the news came on and was giving the line that the Crips, the Bloods, and the what was the other one?
Some
Apes
other
or something.
Some other gang.
One other game. I can't remember the name. It was actually sounded rather racist.
The Fruits of Islam were working with them too, which is the paramilitary wing of the Nation of Islam.
Well, and I
Is that-
saw
is that,
something from a few gang members who were like, we haven't declared any kind
Yeah.
of truce against.
Yeah,
I
these
still
guys.
hate that
That's just-
motherfucker.
yeah.
They're like,
I
no,
hate these motherfuckers regardless.
yeah, they came on and said, well, we made a
They were
truce
red.
Yeah,
to
that-
work with each other to stop the violence in the
That,
streets.
that seems
not to make a truce
sensationalized
to
to me,
kill.
but I didn't look into it too
Yeah,
much. I wasn't sure
everything
about
I've
that.
seen about that was saying that was bullshit. That
Well, yeah.
there was no.
But it was the media that came out on some of the very right-wing medias that came out first saying,
Yeah.
oh, gangs are
banding
plotting
together
to kill
the police officers. Everybody,
Yeah.
everybody, watch out! That's gonna be bad.
You mean kill the police back?
Yeah. So that was. I was just gonna
Jesus.
say one of the greatest things that I've seen about this was from comedian and fellow atheist Keith Lowell Jensen, who tweeted, "I don't understand why they can't just continue to ask peacefully for the police to stop murdering them."
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see, Jensen with 2 E's has to be white.
I was gonna say we do have a listener and a prior guest who wanted to talk about this tonight that we might be able to Skype with if you want to Skype
Oh,
with them
yeah?
right now.
Well, we're 4 white guys sitting around here, so
yeah.
we don't have any credibility.
Man,
I'm
Native
colorblind. I
American.
can only assume that I'm white because everybody says I am, and I burn really easily in the sun.
yeah.
You're one of them.
You're the whitest.
Probably.
Oh, Dan, you're the whitest.
Not just probably, I'm sure I am.
Well, actually, right now you're the reddest, but
I'm always red, but when I drink, I get even more red.
I
And
was
when
saying, the
I'm
drinks
hot,
must be
I'm
working
red.
tonight.
Yeah, I get very rosy. Should we try to call Temell?
Yeah, I told him that we're gonna be calling here shortly, so
let's see what T. Bizzle has to say about this.
Failed.
call failed.
Oh, no.
Well, that's not working.
Oh, someone doesn't have their computer on.
He said he was right by
That's
it.
just bad.
Try doing the Google call.
Nice.
Try
Right to
doing the
his-
Google call
right
his-
to his cellular telephones. See, we are highly advanced in our
Yeah,
technology.
let's work
for the
out all of
show.
our tech bugs on
Shall
on
we-
the show.
Shall we try the cellular telephony?
Well, I thought we would at least try to do it this week rather than next week when you have an actual.
Sorry, Temell. You're not an actual.
Well, he's an actual guest. I mean,
You're virtual.
but he wanted to talk about this.
I want him to talk
So-
about this.
Well, I got to sign into Hangouts and all of that kind of shit here. Hang on.
Well, how prepared is this show?
We're super prepared. Come on. You know this about us. We're always
Warts
we're
and all.
always on the ball.
Anybody
Balls.
wants
We're
Yeah.
always on the
to- This is
balls.
the last stout that I have. Oh, actually, it's nice.
Oh,
It's so good.
here we are calling the T-Booze.
Because this worked when we did it in house. So,
Mm-hmm.
It's good stuff from a kid. Yeah, that's good.
but yeah.
I don't hear any sound, but it says we're in a voice call.
In a voice call, 7, 8.
Maybe the Skype is fucking it up.
Yeah. I'll text him again real quick. Whoa, what was that?
All right.
Oh,
Hey.
hello.
Hi.
Tamel,
Hi.
How
hey,
you doing, man?
you're on air.
What's up, T Bizzle?
Oh, nice, sweet. I thought you were texting me. I thought you were calling me through the Skype.
We tried. It didn't work.
Okay.
It just kept saying call failed.
Call failed. Call
Yeah, so we were just talking about what's going down in Baltimore.
And I know you had mentioned about wanting to come on and talk about it, but I'm not going to be here next week. And it's fresh.
Yes, very true, and it is fresh.
So
Um,
we had just kind of talked a little bit about the media a little bit on
Yeah, the
picking up on the violence part of it and not focusing on the peaceful parts of it. And
we four white guys have been expressing our disgust, but lack a certain credibility.
I think you guys have very much credibility. I think as long as you can actually, kind of recognize the situation. I mean, it's pretty easy to distract from what's actually happened and just focus on the violence part of it.
I just wonder why it's taken them over 12 days for them to come back with a reason of what happened. They still haven't come back with, whether they rough rode them or not. I mean, it's obvious at this point they have.
The reason why it takes them so long is because police have never had to be accountable for the murder of black men in this country before.
Well, and they've also investigated themselves instead of having
They still
somebody...
do. They
Yeah.
still do. This is why there's. Oh God! All right, what do you say, T?
Sorry, T.
No, it's all good. I'm just saying, if you pay attention to like the Mike Brown case, even when that happened, it took him. I think he was out in the street face down for 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah, number of
while they're
hours.
trying to get their stories straight.
not even covered
And
up.
if you take a look at, and if you take a look at North Carolina, it's a similar situation. It's like they're worried about getting their story straight first. They had the recording in the North Carolina shooting where the man was shot in the back 8 times, where it seemed like they focused more on, his chief comes, he tells them, hey, these are the type of questions you're going to get. This is what's going to happen. We're going to give you 2 to 3 days before you even have to make a statement on what happened. So it's like it's a lot more about CYA, like covering yourself to make sure,
Make the department look okay.
Yeah, and I mean, they have a lot of these facts obviously, you can release the videos of what happened. That usually takes months, if not longer, from personal request. But at, kind of Freedom of Information Act type things. But I mean, I think it's always trying to cover your ass, trying to dig up dirt on the person that was murdered.
Right.
To make sure that you can show them as being a violent criminal.
Yeah, as if
dig up any dirt you can.
Yeah, as if there would be some sort of justification for what happened to that person.
Right, and would this not be considered? I mean, I'm just throwing this out for everybody, but taking the law into your own hands at that point. If what you're going to do is go dig up dirt and then build a case after the fact and say, well, here's this criminal, here's all the proof of what they did, so I killed him, and that makes it okay. Well, I mean, where's the due process?
Well, he deserved it anyways.
Where's the
Well, everybody knows that there's a due process, but the process
not
of
if
public
you're dead.
opinion
Only if you
is
have a
what
certain
is
percentage of
important.
melanin. God.
Well, I'm saying regardless of, the situation, obviously I would say that there's a little bit difference when it comes to, black people who are killed.
Yeah.
But regardless of who they kill, they're always looking to win public opinion first. They'll release edited videos, show partial conflicts, show maybe somebody trying to agitate the situation as opposed to releasing the full video and letting people decide for themselves. They're trying to win public opinion, and that can sway juries. Right. I mean, you constantly hear them talking about, like, oh, we need to find an impartial jury, but like even when it comes to like the Trayvon Martin case, who was really impartial to that situation?
Yeah. Well, and even
That's
like
nationwide.
with Tamir Rice, the kid that was shot in Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Within 17 seconds of like the cops pulling into the cul-de-sac there or whatever it was, they shot him without even questioning or having him giving him a chance to put the gun down.
Well, you were talking
they pulled
earlier.
within.
Oh, I was just going to say, Chris was talking earlier about running late at night.
Yeah.
And in the back of my head, I was thinking, I'll bet even if you're wearing a hoodie while out running late at night, there's never been a thought in your head that somebody's going to pull you over, right? Yeah, that somebody's going to stop you and wonder what the fuck you're out doing in the middle of the night running, right?
Right,
Yeah.
and you're also not worried about being raped because you're a man. But that's just don't carry Skittles and you'll be fine.
Skittles and a Arizona iced tea. You know?
Well, that's one of those things that actually kind of hits like weirdly at home for me because anybody that knows me,
we all love Skittles.
I'm pretty much always in a hoodie. So I mean, I'm always in a hoodie, and I do bike riding as of late. So I'm like riding at night. You always got to be conscious. I mean, it's like I've kind of explained to people before. It's not necessarily just that the police are going to roll up on you. It's more of a situation of somebody's going to see you and think that you're in the wrong place, and that's where you get like a Tamir Rice situation, where a neighbor calls you, maybe all the information isn't relayed, but even like that shooting in Walmart.
Yeah,
like,
the guy that was shot in Walmart with the...
This person is doing something that is suspect, whereas somebody else that might be perceived as, oh, well, this is just a person looking for a gun or practicing their Second Amendment right.
Well, I just question when someone doing something suspect becomes a execution sentence for him. That's just
right. That's what I was going to say. Like, I never thought that I would find myself in a position longing for the days of excessive tasing.
Yeah, exactly.
Of 7 to 10 years ago.
Well, it's like when did every cop become fucking Judge Dredd?
Yeah.
Well, dude, they have an entire Batman belt full of non-lethal options. Use that shit.
Sap the guy in the leg or hit him with your baton or something.
We don't want to see people getting tased for no reason, but fucking do that instead of shooting them.
I'd much rather hear "Don't tase me, bro" for hours on loop instead of a guy's
I can't breathe.
Right?
Yeah, no shit. God.
Yes, I would.
Yeah. So I don't understand why those went away.
And that's one of the things that kind of just annoys me with the overall situation because you hear the usual grievances. It's always, where are the parents? Where are the black leaders? Where are the, basically trying to make it like every single black person in the United States is contributing to this situation.
And that no white person has committed the same crime.
Yeah.
Or worse.
Yeah.
Well, and then you hear a bunch of ignorant fuckers saying things like, you know what, just don't break the law. Don't break the law and it won't be a problem.
Yeah, don't you love that one?
That's what I've always found absolutely hilarious because, I mean, I've had friends that I've been pulled over with that have said some things I would never dream of saying to a cop.
Right. Oh, right.
And, I mean, just going off on the guy for a speeding ticket or something silly, when you know you were speeding or you know you didn't make that proper turn, they'll chew this cop out. And that's just something I would never, ever think of. I remember one time my friend coming to me, how polite I was, how well I pulled over. Because, like, for me, necessarily, I don't see that as a joke. Like, there could be potentially, I'm not saying I've ever experienced anything like that. I've experienced a few dumb things, like the police pulling me over, asking me no guns in the car today, like when I was, 19 years old living in Clinton.
Yeah.
Pulled over with
cops are the worst. I got pulled over for driving a 68 Impala. Wearing a flannel and a hoodie, driving around in a 68 Impala in Clinton.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You're not black. Be on your way.
Exactly. That's what it was. They must have thought I was Hispanic or something. They're just like, oh, okay, never mind. Have a good day.
Where's Clinton?
Clinton is in between like Clearfield and Roy.
Yeah.
It's really small.
It's west of where my house was there in Clearfield.
Oh, okay.
It's like there's no freeway exit for Clinton.
Every 5 blocks is a city.
Yeah.
It's west of Hill Air Force Base.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But before you hit the boonies.
All right.
And just living out here, like, this is the place that I've actually lived, and this is probably where I've had, like, the most ridiculous pullovers. Like I mentioned, the pullover, hey, no guns in the car today. Pulled over, hey, you shouldn't have so many friends in the car with you when I was, like, 17.
Who the fuck are you to tell me how many people I can have in the car with me?
Yeah.
Well, when I first got my driver's license and I got a Buick Skylark, I believe it was a 77, I got pulled over 3 times in the same day.
That's a boat and a half.
First got my license.
Wow.
I think one of the pullovers of the cop was probably about a good 300 yards away and realized I had a cracked windshield. Or it depends on how you want to view it.
Yeah.
I've had a cracked windshield since I bought my car.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, there's a decent-sized crack, but it's at the bottom of the windshield, so I wouldn't think it was too terribly obvious.
What would you
Like, I'm just saying when it comes to...
I was just going to say, like, with your experience, like, do you think that the climate has improved or gotten worse over the last, like, 5 to 10 years?
I think for the climate, for me personally, has improved because I'm probably more of an adult, a little bit more respectable vehicle, so they probably view me in a different way. I would say the climate overall is becoming worse, but I would like to say it's becoming worse, but I really don't have evidence that it is. I think now that it's more recognized, there's more cameras, there's more viewing, because, I mean...
Okay.
It's publicized
beatings
more.
have been
It's more
going-
visible.
Yeah, because beatings have been going on for quite a while.
Yeah,
I mean, I remember in the 80s,
But
the
that's
cases
still
in
not
Minnesota
killings.
where they were... Yes, but, I mean, when you're planting drugs on people and beating them,
Yeah.
like taking their life away, might as well be a death.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
So,
Drug
so you know, I see all over the place now that, you know, black parents have to sit their kids down and have this talk with them. You know, they have to have the talk with them, and it's not the sex talk. It's the how you need to interact with police or act around police whenever you're pulled over or the police, you know, happen to roll up on you for whatever reason. This is how you have to act as a black person. Did your parents ever have to have that talk with you?
My parents didn't necessarily have to have that talk with me because I guess I was always one of those kids that was kind of aware of these type of things. I mean, I was always paying attention to the news. So, I mean, and the thing that's so weird to me is, I mean, I've always had a pretty good relationship with the cops. Like, I remember as a kid playing basketball in my driveway, and the cops would actually come over and play with us. I mean, these were cops walking the streets, the beat cops that they talk about. And, you know, we no longer really have.
That's missing from the
But, I mean, they would interact with us. Yeah. I mean, they would come and interact with us. It's like, hey, you know, you're not worried that this guy's out to get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't see very much community policing anymore these days. It's all about law enforcement.
But at the same time, I'm living in Utah.
Yeah.
So if I was back in New York where I'm from, it might have been a whole different interaction.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you kind of look at the violence or the perceived violence and drug dealings within a certain area, you kind of get a different attitude from the police. So, you know, I'm living in Utah where it's fairly quiet, fairly peaceful. So maybe the cops interact with people differently because maybe they're not necessarily as scared.
That's true.
And I think even with the overhyping of not only, you know, the killing of victims, but even police shootings, I think when you start putting those videos out, it has to affect the police too. They're human.
Yeah.
So I think that somehow it actually reacts with them. You know, they're thinking every day, am I going to come home to my kids? I need to be more vigilant. I need to pay more attention. I just think that it's almost like the Fox News effect. It's like they see so much of the bad that they're thinking everyone out there is out to get them.
With every traffic stop wondering if this is going to be the one.
Well, yeah, well, and a lot of it has to do with even how anything is called into the police department, right? So you've got some old biddy
really
sitting in her living room, staring out the window, watching the neighborhood all the time, and she calls the police and reports a suspicious character with his hands in his pockets walking down the road. She's never seen him around here. Looks like he may be casing the joint. He may be armed. So I mean, the police are automatically set on alert when they're sent out on these types of calls, and a lot of it, you know, there's a big portion of it that is police overreaction, but some of it has to do with the people who contact the police in the first place and their personal bias is bleeding into the report that has the police go out on this call,
making them hypervigilant.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then I think when you start combining the media coverage of these shootings and of the killings, then you start having, you know, young black men or young impoverished people kind of feeling the same thing, like, hey, these cops are out here killing people, so the cops are afraid for his life. These people are afraid for their life. I mean, this man ran after making eye contact with the police, and I can't say that I necessarily blame him.
I still get the feeling that I'm going to
Even
get
though
pulled
he's
over.
in the middle of a public street. I mean, he's in a public street getting beaten down. There's witnesses recording him. He's looking like he has a fractured leg. They got him in the chokehold on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're willing to do that in broad daylight,
I still have the fear that if I check my rearview mirror one too many times while being trailed by a cop, that I'm going to trigger them for some reason.
Yeah.
That's why tinted windows are a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I got pulled over for tinted windows in Utah one time. Yeah. These are beyond regulation.
Yeah.
Well,
you can get pulled over for it.
Yeah. Well, I had at the time, and sorry to go off topic here, but this was like a 92, 93 Jetta that didn't have a glove box. And so all of my insurance and registration and everything, I kept in the map pocket of the passenger seat. And I got pulled over going out to, I used to work at the IRS out in Ogden. Like, not the main center, but the MEPS, not MEPS, what the hell is it? Anyway, it was out in the middle by Kent, the paper production plant out there, like in Ogden. It's like out in the middle of effing nowhere. And so the cop pulls me over and on the freeway, and I'm reaching into the back seat to get my license, registration, and my insurance and everything.
The fuck are you doing?
Well, and the cop pulls open my passenger door, has his gun at the ready, and says, "That's a good fucking way to get shot, son." And I was like,
"Yeah."
From that point on, having a cop pull his gun on you, I'm like, I don't make a move until they're at the car and be like, "Sir, I need to put my hand into the glove box to get my registration out." You know?
Oh yeah.
I don't want to get shot.
My hands are at 10 and 2 when they come up to the window. I don't roll the window down until they get there. Then I roll it down and I explain everything that I'm doing in the car.
Okay, so I have a
this
couple
is with
of
me
things.
just being a white guy
Yeah.
in Utah. Like I can only imagine how harrowing it is being driving while black. I mean,
I have a couple of things I want to address that, and I want to address Dan's previous point because I think they're tied together in some way. But the fact that cops are on quote high alert or high vigilance because of the calls they receive, fuck that. I don't give a fucking shit. They're getting paid by the government to do the right thing, uphold the Constitution, and to arrest people who need it and let other I don't give a fuck what the call says. They're supposed to be trained professionals who can go out there and do their goddamn job
and assess the situation themselves.
Despite what the caller has already put into the fucking call. Who gives a fuck what their bias is?
But on the same on the same side of the coin, you have we're no longer 1920s Officer O'Malley, coming up to somebody's domestic disturbance.
Okay, so that would be the part of that you were talking about.
We're having the crazy ass in Utah Second Amendment believing fucking, I have a fully automatic weapon behind my front seat because I'm allowed to. It's my right. Fuck you if you don't have the same thing. And I can only imagine especially here in Utah in this microcosm, a lot of people listening to this might not realize, but we do live in a giant fucking bubble. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people are anti-government, pro-gun, pro everything else, except for what the LDS Church tells us to believe in. But
also anti-black and anti-woman.
Yeah, men are right, men are white.
Yeah, very much so. Even though,
so what? What's the point then?
But as a cop, I would be in fear of my life of every fucking traffic stop I have. But at the same time,
that's the job you chose.
Exactly. I would not choose that as a profession. I'd be like, fuck that. No, thank you.
Right. And the fact that they go out and hire guys who have PTSD, who've just coming off a 10-year fucking war, and now they're going to come out and go on the street and look at every citizen as a hostile insurgent, fucking ridiculous.
I work with that guy. The guy that thinks that every little box that on the side of the road is a IED,
Yeah, they should not be cops. They should not be cops.
And this is the same asshole that's
all
going.
Of these are problems.
This is the same asshole that's going. Well, why don't the cops just shoot all these protesters and be like, yeah, let's just make it worse. Why don't we?
Well,
I think another side that really doesn't ever get talked about is when you think about budget constraints within different counties. Obviously, they're forced to do so many pullovers. They're trying to make their budgets and bring in income for the community. But at the same time, when you look at those budget cuts, like major cities used to have police always patrolling in a pair. You always had a partner. I'm saying the body cam is an excellent way to help for a start, but a partner at least gives you some form of sense of security. If you pay attention to a lot of these shootings, it's a single cop.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of like the Tamir Rice case, there was 2 cops there, and that cop, I mean, even the department that he came from, they said that this guy is not mentally capable of doing this job.
That shit was all bad with Tamir Rice.
He had to stop with seconds. But I'm saying, I think if you look at a lot of these situations when these people are talking about they fear for their lives, if they have a partner, at least maybe they think they have backup. At least maybe they think they have a chance. And I'm not saying that a single cop might not. I think a single cop would probably be a little bit more on alert, especially when you think of like the shooting that we had out on the highway here probably 6-7 months ago where the officer was shot. by somebody that was on the run from California.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I think they don't properly protect these cops. They don't really properly train them. They have about a semester's worth of training is essentially what it comes down to. Not really any reoccurring training unless you're bringing in the Israeli army to teach them how to subdue their citizens. But
you actually literally get more training on how to do nails and hair than you do to be a paramedic or a cop. It takes more semester hours to do hair and nails than it does to be a cop.
I never thought about it, but he's right. I have a friend that's a beautician, does makeup, and she had to go through like 3 years of college for that shit.
So imagine that. Education's a problem yet again. But what I want to, but
damn it, you're paying out of pocket for that shit.
Yeah,
we're not going to pay for that.
But I mean, even still.
Well, the thing is,
yeah, go ahead.
They're paying out of pocket for that shit. But you look at the settlements in Baltimore, you look at the settlements in New York. I mean, in New York, I think that last year it was about $750 million that they paid out for excessive abuse cases. Baltimore, they're paying out fairly similarly. So I'm saying, are you really saving money by not properly training these police?
No.
Are you really saving money?
Right.
I mean, that's costing the taxpayers money.
Money and lives.
And lives, yeah. Well, and the other thing, the other thing we were saying about, cops approaching a car and they're fearing for their lives. First of all, I don't give a flying fuck. But second of all, so is the person that they just pulled over.
Yeah.
Right? So now you have two different individuals. Both are fearing for their lives potentially. And so the cop gets to say, well, I was scared, so I shot him, and that's fine? No, fuck that. That's not an excuse either. Well, this is a person who's paid by the government to have this job. This is a person who's a citizen who works who knows where, who's scared for their life because of the history of the police. Now, the police need to fucking stop doing this shit. That's the problem. I don't care what the citizens are saying when they call in. I don't care what the citizens are feeling when they get pulled over. It's up to the fucking cops.
And that's why a lot of my...
And it totally needs to be changed.
A lot of my friends on
Facebook
get so fucking mad when I push it by cop block and stuff like that, where I'm supposed to know my own rights. And, know what they're supposed to pull you over for. You can only have to crack your window a little bit to give them your identification.
You don't have to at all if you put it to the window.
Yeah. And so that it's just funny that
But they get pissed if
a lot of people in this world just don't quite understand how much of a police state we've given ourselves into.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks.
How many of our rights? They can get pissed.
Yeah, how many of our rights we've just handed over?
They can harass you. They can make you spit. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, man. I didn't mean to take all of your time while we called you, but God, this stuff makes me nuts.
No, that's absolutely fine, man. I wanted to talk to you guys.
Yeah, we've been missing you, man. We need to get you back on the show.
I know. That's why I was telling Duffy I finally had a Thursday off next week, so I was trying to...
Oh,
I guess he's going to be gone in Moab.
Yeah, taking a trip.
Well, Duffy won't be here, but you're certainly welcome to join us if you want.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I'm more than willing to come out.
Sweet.
Okay. I'll have Matt run the board.
We'll have a three-peat.
I'll have Matt run the board. Chris will be here again next week, and
that'll be good.
We've got another guest that we'll be calling also. That'd be good.
Fucking love podcasts.
All right, man. Well, we won't take up any more of your time, but
I did want to say one other thing.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Just kind of relating to the Tamir Rice situation, and once again, it comes down to training. It used to be that the police were told to sit on the outside, assess the situation, and then move in. Nowadays, it's just like they drive straight on in like some kind of action movie and just begin shooting. I mean, if you thought this kid actually had a live gun and was a potential hazard to somebody, first, the police lied in the report. They claimed that he was surrounded by children. If you watch the video, you can see he's sitting by himself on a picnic bench.
There's nobody there in that park.
Yeah.
And if you actually just look from the outside, approach him, give this kid a chance to react. I mean, this is a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, a 12-year-old kid that within, 10, 15 seconds of the police arriving is fucking dead.
Yeah, the cops roll up on the lawn, hop out of the car, and immediately shoot.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, the initial phone call on that, when the person said, there's a kid in the park with a toy gun.
With a toy gun, with an airsoft gun. They knew that it had the tip on it, and they knew it wasn't a real gun.
But when you listen to the police dispatch, they dispatch it as, there's somebody in the park with a gun. So I say that's a little bit on the dispatcher there.
Well, but they
not relaying all information, but still they should have assessed the situation.
When the cops rolled up, he didn't raise the weapon at them.
No.
Yeah.
And that, for me, as a cop, the only way you'd have a justifiable defense is if the kid was pulling the gun up.
Well, and we're still talking about a 12-year-old
A
fucking
12-year-old
kid
in a park.
It's a 12-year-old kid. How are they going to react?
I still go back to this point where, okay, you're a cop. You picked that. That's your fucking job. Your job is not to save your life above everybody else's.
Right.
That's not your job anymore. Your job is to make sure you're looking at the situation appropriately and legally. You don't get to roll up and shoot someone, well, I felt threatened. I don't care. Fuck you. I don't care if you're laying on the street, now you're dead.
You felt threatened with your
I don't
body
care.
armor on.
The only problem with that is that we're facing a post 9/11 Patriot Act world where
Yeah, we're in a Republican state.
cops
Yeah.
are right.
Oh, yeah.
But you are
We're
wrong.
trying to-
Cops are right.
Yeah, but
It's
what
moving towards
I'm
a
saying is
fascistic
that's the
state.
problem.
Yeah.
The problem is I don't give a fuck if they feel threatened. That's the job they're in,
Yeah.
and they're supposed to protect the citizens. Some of them will die.
Yeah.
That's the fact.
Yeah.
But the priority is not to keep all the cops alive.
Yeah, you
I'm
don't-
sorry,
you-
that's
you-
not the priority.
You don't pick a job based on your. If you're picking a job based on your chance of survival, cops should be lowest on your
yeah,
list.
very
you know?
low. U.S. cop should be the very last
Be
thing
like,
you
you know
think
what?
of.
I'd rather work in a production job where I'm welding shit at Lifetime for a couple of hours a day.
Right,
You know, at least
And
there I don't have to
actually,
worry about dying.
right. I'd rather be a Golden Gate Bridge painter
Yeah.
than be a U.S. cop.
You know, iron worker. You know, crazy shit like that where
Right.
you still have a chance of death. It's less.
Right. So how irrational is the person that picks the job of being a U.S. cop and then says, "I felt scared, so I had to shoot first"? Oh, fuck you, dude. Fuck you and your bitch.
Well,
ass
and it
fucking attitude.
it also
Get out of here. I
It
don't
also
care.
comes
I
down
don't care.
to in a lot of these places the whole us versus them bullshit that a lot of people keep perpetuating. It's like
Yeah,
it's
well.
this whole white versus black thing that people keep perpetuating over the years and over the years and over
Way
the
to
years.
bring it back.
Sorry.
No, it's good. We just have to call attention to it every time.
But it's just it's a matter of, you know, it's us versus them. You know, I'm a white police officer and I'm facing against a black guy. I better shoot him before he does something crazy on me.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, he's just a normal person just like you, probably working a 9 to 5, has kids at home, has bills that need to get paid, and all this other bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like we're treating each other a lot less like human beings and more like what our races are, what our creeds are, and everything
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I don't judge a lot of the people that I work with like, oh, that's a Mormon guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd treat him like that's a dude that's working. You know,
Yeah.
I don't judge people based on the minutia of their life. I based on what
Their
is their
actions.
life, their
Yeah.
current life. You
Well,
know?
we know you don't. But
I
the
work
pro-
with a lot of fucking crazy ass
Yeah.
right wing people.
But the problem is that the cops are doing that right now.
Yeah,
and that,
but-
and that is the problem.
And that's the problem is that they're making snap judgment before they even arrive at the scene.
Yep.
And
Well, I would say another problem is if you actually pay attention to it, every time that the cops are caught on video, they lie. In their statements, they have lied almost every time.
Well,
They
lie
will make
constantly.
one statement, they will claim this is what happened, and it's proven to be a bold-faced lie.
Oh yeah, I
And
feel
that's where it
bad.
becomes systemic.
Yeah, I feel bad. I can't remember the guy's name or exactly where it was, but the guy who, you know, a bystander just happened to be there and recording on his phone.
That's the North Carolina shooting.
Yeah, and saw the cop. You know, the guy is clearly running away. The cop unholsters his weapon and shoots him in the back. What, 6, 7 times?
I think it was 6 times in the back.
And then you know, calls in backup. Backup arrives, and the cop walks over and drops the taser next to the guy as if this was, you know, his justification for shooting this man in the back as he's running away.
Right. He tried to tried to hit me with something non-lethal, so I shot him 7 times in the back.
Yeah.
And that, I know.
And that's where I kind of hate to get Fox and Newsy with it, but that's where it's like, if it's supposedly not all the cops are bad, then how can you get so many cops that are so willing to just sit there and let them plant evidence? Like, I don't know if you guys seen the beating in Detroit, but where 3 cops pulled this guy out of the car. I mean, the second that they pull him out, they tase him, pull him out, tase him 2 more times, punched him 16 times within 15 seconds. But then you see the 3 cops in the back, and they had turned off their audio, thinking that they turned off the camera as well.
Yeah, that's
See him reach
bullshit.
into their pants, pull out the cocaine, and then like, oops, look here, we found some cocaine in his car.
So that's worth that. So we can still So just to be clear for everybody,
And that's with 2 other cops right in front of them.
yeah. So I just want to be clear for everybody. I'm not saying that all cops are bad. I'm just saying that the system is so broken, it allows for very bad people to thrive in that
To
environment.
continue doing bad things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are an awful lot of very bad people who are cops. That's a fact. And they're
But
allowed
there's a lot of-
allowed to thrive because they're protected in that environment. That's my problem.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of cops that say they're not bad cops, but if you allow these things to happen, if you're a bystander allowing somebody to plant evidence,
then you're a bad cop.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that makes you a good cop. I mean, apathy is not really...
No bad person says they're bad. I mean,
yeah,
of course they don't admit it. I just, I mean, not doing anything about a wrong thing that you witness is just as bad as perpetrating
doing it yourself. Yeah,
maybe not quite, but
pretty fucking
still
close.
bad. Yeah,
pretty fucking close. I mean, if you're allowing your brother in arms or whatever, your brother in blue to do the same fucking thing and then covering their ass when they fuck up, that's, in my mind, that's almost worse. Because
That's what I'm saying.
You know that they've done wrong, and you're covering for them.
Yeah, you've seen past the gray.
Yeah, but I can't say worse because they did it, and they're also doing everything you're doing by covering it up and lying about it. But they did it, so there's that extra element. I think covering it up is, I mean, witnessing it, not saying anything, and covering it up is almost as bad.
I would say it's worse, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with Dan.
Make
here
your
on this
case.
one.
I would say that it's worse because you know that it's bad.
So does the person doing it.
So let's say that in the heat of the moment you did something. Oh, I fucked up. I'm going to try to cover it up. Whatever.
The person doing the fucking up could rationalize it in a certain way or another, but the person that knows,
And that's
the person that knows that they fucked up, and then they work with that person to try to cover it up. To my mind, that's worse.
That's worse than the person actually doing it. So somebody kills somebody witnesses a murder. Both of those people try to cover it up. The person who witnessed the murder is just as bad as the person who murdered. That makes no sense to me.
I see your point, though.
You're saying it's worse?
I can see your point, but yeah, I do think it's worse because
they're both covering it up. They're both lying about the wrong.
The murderer,
one person murdered and one didn't.
The murderer who was in the heat of the moment of the whole thing could have.
I don't care about that.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's irrelevant.
Well, I don't think
or
it's,
is it?
Is it
relevant?
I don't think it's irrelevant, and that's why I'm saying that the person covering it up.
Okay, so let's go on a
for them is even
hypothetical
worse.
that this person did it, that this person committed some heinous thing, and there's a justification for it, and then now there's two people that are lying about it, and this person who hypothetically maybe could have had a justification for it is not as bad as the other person who witnessed it and covers it up. That's stupid. I'm sorry.
I don't know that.
I see your point, but
We're chasing rabbits at this point, though.
Yeah, okay, but anyway,
I don't know that it's worse, but I think both of those people should be doing time.
Absolutely,
yeah, absolutely.
We'll all agree on that. I'm going to go on record
It
as
might
saying
be varying
the
degrees.
murderer is worse than the witness, but that's me.
Yeah, and I get your point.
I don't know how there is any other way to see that.
I think maybe I'm not communicating my point clearly enough that you can act in the heat of the moment and fuck up and think, oh fuck, I need to cover this up, and then somebody else comes along and sees that, oh, this person acted in the heat of the moment, they fucked up, and rather than me saying, yeah,
Hey,
you fucked up,
yeah,
let's try to fix this. You fucked up. I'll help you say, you fucked up. It was a problem. Whatever, it was the heat of the moment. I can justify you kind of in your actions a little bit because it was the heat of the moment, rather than saying I'm just going to lie my fucking ass off and say you were completely justified and help you in trying to make this even more justified than it was in the first place.
I'm with you. I'm with you that that's bad.
Does that make sense?
I'm with you that that's bad.
Yeah,
that's really bad.
Yeah,
but the other guy's doing the same thing, and he killed somebody.
Yeah.
I would almost say, though, at the same time, the person
cops shouldn't be doing any of that.
Is almost the form of an enabler, because I mean, you don't go from 0 to kill somebody and expect this person to cover your back. There's been little things along the way that this person has probably overlooked to help you out.
Well, I
think it's almost like that.
Yeah.
So that's true.
So yeah, that's the other point too.
It's never like these guys expect this dude to. It never seems that they're questioning whether this guy's going to back them up. They know he has their back.
Yeah,
you got to build that kind of a trust.
Right. Yeah. So that's the other thing too. Is I know I've fucked up. I don't expect anybody to throw themselves under the bus with me to help me protect myself, and yet they do it. I mean, to me, even as the person who did it, it's kind of like, you're really fucking shady. Yeah, I fucked up. I can see that, but by you backing me in this, where I may even eventually come around to the idea that, no, I fucked up and I should fess up to it, but somebody else sticking up for me and saying, no, let's just cover this shit up. Let's bury it. Let's say you were justified, whatever. And I guess
I don't
that's
think
that's
that
kind
is
of
what's
where
going.
I'm.
I don't think that's what's going on at all.
Yeah.
I think you're coming at this from a viewpoint of someone with moral fiber. This is not what's. this is not the situation. What we're talking about is two people who are fucking very happy to murder.
Well,
that's
we
no
are
problem
atheists.
at all.
We tend to live life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But we're talking about two people that are completely fine with murder. One person does it and says, "I know you got my back," and the other dude looks at him and says, "Yeah, no problem." Now, in that case,
But I
where
think
both
Dan
of
and
them
I-
are on equal footing as far as dismissing the whole thing as a no big deal and lying about it, the only difference is one person committed the act and the other didn't. In that case, he's worse. Yeah. You're not talking about people that are like, "Oh shit, I fucked up." No. They're like, "Hey, I know this was okay, and I know you think so too, but the law is going to disagree, so what are we going to do about it?" That's what's going on.
I
I
get
don't,
that.
yeah. Anyway, whatever, semantics and stuff, but
We have a problem. It needs to be fixed.
yeah. So
You know the worst part about guesting on this show is I'm not gonna be able to listen to this week
Why?
You're on it.
because I'm on it.
Why won't you be able to listen to
Well, I'll
it?
still listen just to give you guys the download number. But hell,
Yeah,
this has
it's
been a good
difficult.
fucking
I've heard
episode.
him.
man.
Oh, I know. This is a tough one, yeah.
It's
hate
kind of
this
weird for me to listen to myself before too.
I'd be yelling at the fucking plasma donation center, be like, "Oh, you're wrong." No,
Well, but see, we have the benefit of actually being able to work it out, and on this show, I've been wrong more than I've been right, so that's one of the benefits.
We can do a quick happy news article.
Oh, I got a bunch of much more upbeat news. I mean, this is probably the darkest issue our country's facing right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
not a racial slur.
I was going to say no pun intended.
What's wrong with dark issues?
no shit, I didn't even recognize that one.
No, don't pretend like you have no racism in you.
Oh no, I'm racist as fuck thanks to my southern
Don't go that
grandparents. No, I'm just
I'm
saying.
just kidding.
The thing I didn't bring up earlier that I wanted to kind of touch on is the casual racism of the South.
Yeah, I have no experience with that.
Oh, you're so lucky. But growing up as a kid living in mainly in Arkansas and Louisiana and all those other states down south, you hear a lot of people like when there's a person of more melanin in their skin within an environment, they won't say the word, but as soon as they're gone, be like, "Oh, I'm glad that N-word's gone." Wow, Grandma, really? Did you just say that? What the fuck? And this is stuff you're hearing from early on in life until you're like in your teens, and you start to realize that in your social justice way of life, you're like, man, that's fucking wrong.
But they'll sit there and have a whole conversation and realize this is a decent human being and this is a pleasant conversation. And then as they turn around, they throw the slurs out there.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the problem is that I shouldn't say the problem. They fully realize
that's worse than a racist that's out front.
Yeah.
That if that's what you were talking about with the cops, then I agree that in that case,
Yeah.
that's worse.
Well, I just know from experience that my grandparents have called white people the N-word as well too.
Really?
Yeah.
What does that mean? I mean, to them, like what?
Trailer park living.
Well, some people try to consider it ignorant people.
Yeah,
Like people that think are ignorant,
Oh, like-
essentially uncivilized.
Uncivilized, living off of the dole.
I don't know.
Having kids out of wedlock kind of things.
Oh, terrible people. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
got
horrible.
you now.
But it's so weird to grow up in an environment where you get this casual racism going on, like to the point where like my mom had a friend over at the house one time, and her name was Miyako. She was from Japan. And this is before I had respect for Japanese people, and so I'm like, this is before before I learned what racial slurs were, kind of thing.
I was still mad about Pearl Harbor.
Well, no shit. We're watching a World War II film, and it's like a John Wayne like World War II like fighter pilot over the Pacific kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, get them nips. And like this lady's just sitting there just taking it, and I'm like, I didn't realize how racially insensitive and how fucked up the words that I just said were to this lady.
Oh,
and
man.
Yeah, and this is happening all
And you carry this guilt around with you to this day.
I'm still fucked up from saying stuff like this from when I was a kid.
Wow.
Well, that's kind of one of those weird things because it's like same thing what we're doing right now in the Middle East. It's like if they're your enemy, then it's okay to call them any racial slur that you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you'll meet a lot of people
they're
that
the
will
bad
talk
guy.
about the Japs or the Nips
or the Gooks or the, you know.
Yeah, let's just name them all. Let's get it all.
Let's just go ahead and get all those racial terms out. That's not saying that I believe that's what they are.
No, but you have to do that. I think at a certain level, if you're a normal human, if you're gonna be expected to go kill them.
Yeah, you have to dehumanize something before you can kill it.
Yeah.
Because if you realize that the person you're pulling the trigger on is somebody that has the same desires, wants, loves for life, you know, has their own children, has a mom and dad. You know, how many people could we possibly kill at World War II when we realize that German soldier has a mom and a dad that cares that they come home safely, you know, that celebrates
some kids that love them. Yeah.
Well, I kind of had that talk at work.
That's one of those things. That's one of those things that's built within the military system. I mean, they had.
Oh, absolutely.
I was listening to the Dan Carlin Hardcore History. They had songs that they would play on the radio about killing the Nips or killing the Japs.
Which
and
goes.
The Flat Eyes. I mean, they were regular commercial songs.
That goes back to my point about why it's a bad idea to have ex-military people in the police force, because they come out of that thinking the same way, and then they go kill a bunch of black kids.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a liberal vet, and I look at it differently.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Well, they just look at anybody that's opposing them as an enemy.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, I can understand, you know, you can have a just cause and still kill somebody. If somebody breaks into my house, I'm worried they're going to attack my children. I may shoot them, but I'm probably not going to call them a slur.
Oh, wait, I don't have a gun. I won't shoot them. I'll just beat them.
I'd probably actually feel a little bad and maybe have a little respect for their life regardless.
Yeah, my
So
problem with
you don't have to be humanized in order to kill. It makes it easier.
It just makes it easier to kill somebody when you dehumanize them.
It makes it easier.
If you want to do it offensively, then yes.
But where I see the problem, where you dehumanize a race or dehumanize a person to the point where you have no problem killing them, you also have no problem killing them in a situation where you shouldn't be killing them.
Right.
You have no problem lining them up in a pit and killing them. You have no problem killing a soldier that has surrendered.
That's where you have no problem killing their women or their children is when you consider them subhuman.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have no problem killing in the wrong situation. You think it's justified because they are subhuman. They are below you. They are not worthy.
Like if a black person is running away from you in a park.
Yeah.
But even still, it takes a weird kind of person. Like, because I would consider, like, a rat to be below me in almost every aspect. You know?
Well, and to bring it back to the running.
But I still don't kill them for no reason.
Yeah, but bring it back to the running that we were talking about earlier. Like, I see rats on the path all the time. I'm not going out of my way to go, oh, it's a rat. I'm going to fucking step on it, you know?
Right.
I'm going to be like, oh, it's a rat.
But I'm
going to keep going.
But if that rat were in your house.
Yeah.
Well,
I
don't
know. I'm one of those weird liberals where I don't kill spiders in my own house kind of thing.
Anyway.
Oh, that's cool. I'm just
sorry. Let's reel it back from the dark.
Hey, racist.
Hey.
I can't help it, man. I was brought up in the South.
We can move to lighter news.
My racist-ass parents.
No, I'd say there's nothing wrong with the darker news. I'm just saying it's better to be talked about.
Yeah, it's better to be brought out in the open instead of
talked about. Some people, some people
agree.
just try to keep it concealed inside, and I think that's kind of what breeds hatred. It's like you have these feelings that you can't talk about.
Well, and the other thing is,
you know, maybe if you,
I keep cutting him off. Sorry, Temell.
I
just keep on doing that.
I'm just saying, maybe if you actually knew somebody, like I've had some people have some weird ass conversations with me, but they know that, hey, I'm going to listen to what they say. I'm going to actually talk to them. I'm not going to get offended. I'm like, hey, you know, when you're talking about BET or something like that,
fucking love
this
BET.
is the story of it, you know. Yeah, a lot of people want to say, you know, oh, isn't BET racist? I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know that white people weren't well represented on television.
Yeah, no shit.
This is coming from a kid that was brought up watching 227.
But it's one of those funny ones. I mean, it's usually the same arguments that I always get. How come rappers can say the N-word, BET, and then the NAACP is usually the three that I hear.
Now, what's the argument about NAACP that I worry about? Because I'm wondering if it's the one thing that I've thought in my mind as on my multitude of running out in the middle of nowhere, it's lost in my own mind kind of things. I'm like, is colored even a word they should be using anymore?
Well, the thing is, colored, when they say colored people, they mean colored people, like Hispanic, Asian, everybody. Yeah. The NAACP was started after a massacre, and it was started by Jewish men.
Oh, I didn't even realize
So people always
that.
act like it was a bunch. That's what I'm saying. If people look into the history, I'm like, they act like it was a bunch of black people got together and they were working with, you know, religious leaders. They were like, hey, let's call this National Advancement for Colored People, because they wanted to make it black people.
Yeah.
But they're like, hey, let's call it colored people. Let's include all races. But, I mean, right-wing media is pretty good at demonizing everything. So
but I
when
think
you hear NAACP...
When you have people as open-minded as secularists and atheists that would go, oh, I didn't realize that. Let me read into it. Let me understand this a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would be able to understand this kind of thing a little bit better instead of just, coming off with a Fox News, this is what they tell me kind of thing.
Right. Well, I mean, I can only imagine.
Yeah, and those are the things.
now I'm all paranoid.
Cut you off again.
I'm just saying those are the things. Those are the things that I would do, because even like BET was started by a black entrepreneur who kind of wanted to, like, hey, we got this
Robert
market
Johnson.
right here that's open and we could address these people. Started off with Nickelodeon, eventually branched off into its own channel. Right now, I think it's currently owned by Jewish men as well. But everybody looks at
It's
it.
because it's Hollywood. Everything in Hollywood is owned by the Jews.
That's insane.
Dan.
Hollywood's owned by the Jews, but everything is about making money. I mean, there's always going to be somebody willing to exploit any market.
It's the
You have somebody
Illuminati.
that wants to cater television to black people. You have some people that want to hire black people to talk bad about black people on Fox News.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially black clergymen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's their favorite.
Well,
Yeah.
problem with all these networks is they realize what works for them. And you have people
They
like
do.
Fox News that they realize, if we pander to the
Baby boomers.
the right-wing baby boomer NRA supporting white,
Rich,
whites
white,
and the
old,
lights and-
straight men.
Gullible.
Gullible, believe anything
Yeah,
they
they-
fucking hear, kind of market.
It's not just black people that pander against. They pander against youth, women,
Oh, yeah.
liberals, educated people, black people. I mean, it's pretty much anyone but old, staunch people that never went to school to be their
Yeah.
market.
Well, and if you paid attention to
Like
anything
you're a
that Fox
blue-collar
News ever
worker your
said,
whole life.
anything the Fox News ever said, you would think the atheists are still baby eaters.
Yeah.
I mean, we are, but
Only on Tuesdays.
only on Tuesday with volunteering parents. Thank you.
I can never finish a whole one. I don't know.
I think that's one of those other things that kind of somewhat gets blown out of proportion that people don't realize. Because you think about a Fox News, you think they got this big market. They probably maybe have like 10 million viewers, older viewers, but at the most 10 million. If you think about 320, 350 million Americans.
But the problem is
It's really
that
not that many people that pay attention.
they're repeat
They're voters,
viewers,
that's
and they're
the problem.
voters. That's the other problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
they vote like they go to church, but they don't read
They
anything.
do vote,
and
but even when it came to these last midterm elections, I mean, we had 35% of people voted.
Yeah.
So it's like the only way that they can get those people out, but it's still such a small minority that they need everyone else not to come out, along with riling up their people to come out against gay marriage or
It's that
abortion
voter-
or whatever.
It's that
their
voter
tactic it
apathy
is.
that I fucking just it drives me fucking
I-
nuts.
and
I
Dan's gonna
applauded
go rant
that.
now.
I applauded President Obama when he's talking about doing mandatory voting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what? It should be a whole weekend long kind of thing.
The only people worried about it are Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because they're going to vote against
Of course.
it.
I
yeah.
mean, it's
Yeah, exactly.
obvious. If you're doing everything you can to limit people voting, then it's obvious who your base is.
Yeah.
Their base is all retired, and
Well, I mean that's kind of the same thing. Like I remember when like Saddam Hussein claimed that he had his first democratic election, and 100% of Iraq voted for me. So
I win.
Yeah.
I win, bitches. Currently, he's in heaven with the Mormons.
All right, T. We're gonna let you go, and
right, fellas.
you gonna be joining
Thanks-
us
thanks
next
for
week
the
then?
call.
I definitely will try to come join you next week. I'll just need to get the address or whatever, and I'll come on out.
I would
Awesome,
look forward
man.
to it.
I can hook you up.
I'll make sure
All
Ryan's
right,
got.
sounds great.
I'll make sure Ryan's got my deets.
Tails.
I want to let you guys know, too, because I'm constantly telling Ryan, you guys do a great show. It gives me wonderful entertainment at work, and it's always, it's like this very smooth flowing conversation. So, it's, just like hanging with friends.
Hey, thanks, man.
I
So,
appreciate
you guys do a great job.
Thanks. I really appreciate that.
Bootstrap will work the same way.
Yeah, bootstrap.
All right. Well, thanks, T. We'll see you next week.
See you, T. Bizzle.
All right, guys.
Bye. I love that guy.
He's a good guy.
He's a good dude.
I've really enjoyed it. He's been on 2 episodes with us now.
Was he on twice?
Yeah. This will be his three-peat.
Yeah.
Plus a call-in. And I didn't expect him to blow us at the end of that call, but that was good. Take that.
I really like Temell. He's a good dude, man.
Yeah. I should have let him talk. He was on the phone for 40 minutes. He got to talk for 7.
You just need to learn, you need to learn to put the hands up on your head.
I just can't.
And just let it happen.
With that particular topic, I just cannot, and many others.
Yeah. No, it's a tough topic for sure, man.
I hate it, man, it's just out of control. And I can't. You know what? I don't. I feel like we have a responsibility to not shut up about it, because I think that's the reason why things are gonna change. You know? It's not appealing. It's not going to be appealing to the morals of the oppressors.
No, absolutely not.
It,
yeah, I mean, you have to speak it. Well, even Obama said that. I mean, he said, it's something that we need to keep in the spotlight, not have just highlighted every now and then when riots happen, right?
Yeah.
It's not, someone else's kids far away. These are our people. These are our kids. We need to look at this as everybody is in this together, and to see the frustration that is being exercised by these people is something that we all need to recognize.
When I heard Obama say that Trayvon Martin, if he had a son, Trayvon Martin would be about the age that he was when he got shot.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that took that and ran with it and be like, oh, he said Trayvon Martin was the son, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, he's just trying to say, like, look.
He's trying to humanize him.
If I had a kid that was a boy, he would have been his age when he got shot.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people that don't realize that, look, this is a human life that got extinguished before its prime.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, they're just making it a whole, he beat up on this guy, or he did this, or he should have done this, or he would have done this. And it's like, no. Like,
it's always trying to demonize the victim.
Yeah. And I'm not much one for, like, doing the whole victim blaming game and everything, but it's just, I don't understand why they can't see people as human beings. Mm-hmm. Everybody is always trying to look for a different angle of, somebody that got killed. Well, he obviously was asking for it, or obviously was doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. Why didn't he just throw his hands up when the police came into the room?
Yeah, it's
because that's not what you're supposed to fucking do when a cop comes into the room.
Yeah,
yeah. My solution to part of the problem, it won't fix the whole problem, it won't fix everything, but I've thought,
no, you don't. You profit from it.
Yeah. No. Instead of letting it get to the point where it does blow up into where you got people doing large demonstrations and riots start breaking out, they're doing that because they got no other way to voice themselves. If you give people an outlet just for that incident, something bad happens in the community. If you hold a large town hall meeting in a neutral place, even if it has to be at a church that people in that community all respect or go to, or at a school in a gymnasium where you actually have people come there and you talk. The city leaders will talk, the cops, everybody will be in the same room, talk to each other as human beings, work it out. And if you're able to do that at least once and have a positive thing come out in the end, where both sides are in agreement on, yes, this cop did something wrong, okay, the city, what are you going to do about it? And there's actually action taken, the city might start to have more respect, or the citizens might have more, in that community might have more respect towards the police and towards the city going, if someone fucks up, they're going to be dealt with. So people are going to be a little bit more on their game and trying not to fuck up because they know that they can't get away with it anymore.
Well, I say you abolish the IA, get rid of those, cops with seniority who are now investigating other cops.
No, make it a different party.
Quit with the fox watching the hen house kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You have a multiracial, multi-gendered, multi-aged citizens organization that has power over police actions.
Yeah.
Then who people who are civilians, not
well. But the problem in all
you
of it
can't have cops investigating cops. It doesn't work.
The main problem I think comes down to the whole event of everything is that you need to have people. You need to have people realize that they fucked up.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are not willing to own up to shit when they do wrong. I see it every fucking week in the industry that I work in, the IT department. You don't have people that are willing to own up to doing something stupid. They're not willing to own up to, fucking something up, doing something they shouldn't have done, loading a patch that shouldn't have been loaded. They just go, "Oh, I was only doing what I was told." Like, no.
See, and I've always been...
So are the SS.
So we both work in the IT sector.
World.
Yeah, IT
Be like,
world.
if you notice
And
it's not going to work on one system,
Yeah.
it's not going to work on the other
well,
ones,
and
man.
I'm always the first person. Like if I fuck up, I'm always the first person to own it. Like no,
Well, because it makes
this
cleaning
was
up a
me.
lot fucking quicker.
Well, yeah. You're not worried
Playing the
about
blame
pointing the
game.
fingers. Yeah, you're not playing the blame game, pointing fingers, trying to figure out whatever. No, I fucked up. Even sometimes even if it's not my fault,
Hey,
I'll
I did
just
what
say, hey,
I did what was told of
I'll
me,
fix it.
and
Hey,
it fucked things up.
yeah.
I will fix it, but we need to know from this point on that this is
let's not do
wrong.
that again. Yeah.
This is wrong. Do not do this again. Rolling up on a playground with a kid with an airsoft gun and shooting him when he's sitting there at the goddamn pavilion instead of, hey, son, what do you have right there?
Yeah.
Or, rolling up on Trayvon Martin, and saying, I think you have a gun. No, he didn't have a gun, man. He was just a kid with Skittles and a fucking drink. Or you have all the other cases, like this guy that he was getting a weapons charge because he had a switchblade knife on him. That doesn't mean you need to separate
that they
his
didn't
fucking
even discover until later.
You didn't need to separate his fucking spinal cord from the rest of his body by transporting him harshly. And I don't even know if that's the case. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe putting knees in his back or
Yeah.
Tackling the guy really hard might have fucked him up.
Yeah,
But
Well,
we don't know because
he had
they haven't
from-
come out with anything. But the thing is like once it like a year from now, when we're looking at this shit in hindsight, you're going to come to find like, oh, we probably shouldn't have done this, but we're still going to be doing this.
Yeah.
When we have the guy that choked out the guy that was selling Lucy's in New York. Big fucking deal. He was selling loose cigarettes.
Yeah.
Who cares if he's not
And
getting a tax stamp on it?
There was 5 officers around him.
And you can buy those in almost any fucking bodega.
Any bodega in town. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Instead of going, oh, my bad, dude. Let me get off of you for a second. Shut up. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Suck it up, pussy.
Not even those, but you remember the autistic kid that died in the theater with the off-duty police officer? It was an off-duty police officer that was working as a security guard at the movie theater. The guy was autistic, and he wanted to watch the movie again. And his mom was trying to get him to leave, like, no, we gotta go. He's like, no, I want to watch it again. And sometimes autistic people are set in their ways, and he was going to watch that movie a second time. The security guard, who was an off-duty officer, went in there, took him to the ground, and laid on top of him and suffocated him to death.
Because that's what you should do in those situations.
Because that's the right amount of force that you need to put onto a situation like that.
Right.
And what would it have cost the movie theater? But $7
$7
to let him sit there and watch the movie a second
at most.
fucking time.
You're assuming that the
You're assuming that the
would have
movie's
been
going to be full.
sold out.
Yeah.
If it was Age of Ultron, maybe.
Instead,
Yeah, I mean,
this guy died. Now the family has to have that burden of a funeral, has to have the burden of losing their son. And he wasn't young; he was older. But you got to look at it. This guy had a mental condition. He wasn't, like a normal person.
should we move to a lighter bit?
Yeah, we need some lighter shit to finish this out.
Sorry,
here.
everybody.
Congratulations, North Korea.
Yay!
North Korea is best Korea.
The borders have opened.
That's what they tell me.
Yeah. Well, believe it or not, they have landed the first human being on the sun.
What?
Fuck yes.
I didn't know you could land a person on a gaseous ball.
Superman.
Hung Il-dong, 17.
17.
Wait. Hung Il-dong?
He hung his dong.
Hung dong.
Hung Dong. Hung Il-dong, 17.
No comment.
Is reported to have been the first man to land on the sun,
Racist.
according to North Korean Central News. It's surprising enough to know that a human has managed to land on the sun, but what surprised me more is the report that the journey took him only 4 hours.
Wow, that's
93
really
million
fast.
miles.
But you know what? If they have the warp technology like they're supposed to have already,
He used a warp bubble.
I mean, it only takes like 7 minutes for the sunlight to hit Earth. I mean, so if they're moving at relativistic speeds, you should I'll shut up now. Sorry.
They said, we are very delighted to announce a successful mission. I can't believe I did that. To put man on the sun.
I think Chris almost had beer come out his nose.
He did. We're just gonna say he did.
Wow.
Sorry. North Korea has
You
beaten
collect
every
a Pokemon.
other country in the world to the sun. Hung Gong.
Hung Gong?
Now it's Gong. Hung Gong. It was Hung Dong.
Dong.
Now it's Hung Gong.
Dong and gong.
Anyway, he's a hero and deserves a hero's welcome when he returns home later this evening.
I really want to fucking visit North Korea. I really do. I have a security clearance that keeps me from going there, but man, I would fucking want to visit that place.
I just want to know how well they photoshopped this one because they've used Top Gun movies way too many times.
like
If they
a
got him in
whole-
a Top Gun scene.
People are allowed to eat weed.
I was gonna say it's like a whole different country, but obviously
Yeah.
it's like a wholly different world.
Yeah.
You know, people that
Different
like hate,
universe.
that
It's
hated
an
on the
alterverse.
that hated on the interview when it came out.
Oh, it was
that
fucking
movie was
hilarious.
fucking hilarious. I don't care what anybody says.
Which one?
The interview.
Oh, it was all right. Yeah.
Then the guy who played
not a
Kim
huge
Jong Il
Franco
in the
fan.
interview is in that TV show where they're the people that come to America.
The just off the boat.
Yeah, just off the boat, yeah.
Whatever it is. I can't
Yeah.
remember the name of it, but
I like
That's
that
it.
show.
He's the father. I've been watching that on Hulu.
show's fucking funny.
Here's how they were able to do it. You were wondering.
Oh yeah, how did they?
You were wondering about the
Please
science.
explain. Yes. Tell us about the science, or
I think DC Comics already gave us an explanation of this shit.
No,
you
this
know?
is better. This is better. It was said that the journey was made possible by traveling in the cover of darkness, which protected him from the extreme heat of the sun.
under the
So
under the cover of
So-
darkness through
so-
space toward the sun.
For some
there's
reason,
a
I'm
okay.
reminded
dark
of
side of the sun.
I'm reminded of Mario Brothers. Like when you looked at the ghosts, they kind of like shy away, but like when you look away,
Oh,
they
yeah.
come chase after you
Right.
again. It's like we could travel faster towards the sun when it's not looking at us.
So they honestly must think their sun like rotates and it's got a bright side and a dark side.
I fucking love
I
North
don't
Korea.
know.
I
I
swear to
don't
God.
What the fuck?
North Korea is like the saddest nation on earth.
Imagine giving them an iPhone or an Android tablet.
They got them.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
there's-
they
I
made it
think
on a
there's, like-
cardboard with an apple on it.
I think there's like four. Like I remember hearing something earlier
Apple
this week
20?
about how there's a X amount of people that are allowed on the internet in North Korea. Like 516 people are allowed on the internet in North Korea,
they're all
and they're all
560.
government.
Yeah, how many
students.
government? Yeah.
Well, my buddy who was
I mean, you got people so hungry there they're eating grass that they harvest from the parade grounds and shit.
Oh, it's
my
sad.
my buddy who lived in China. In order for him to get on Facebook or any social media, he had to go to South Korea.
You just need to get a good VPN, man.
Well, he had to pay a shitload for it. Like it was like you had to buy them there. It wasn't like you could just set like, hey, you got to buy this VPN.
He doesn't know how to tech.
Yeah, it doesn't.
No,
have
he
tech.
doesn't. He
It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
But he
Me
also
and Dan are
lived in
looking
the
at each
middle
other.
of nowhere, like in the bamboo forest, running a hotel.
Oh, that explains things then.
Yeah.
So, bamboo forest.
I
He
think
did, it was actually the same bamboo forest that was used in the
They got all
movie
sorts
Crouch
of
Tiger, Hidden
pandas.
Dragon.
Oh,
I think the
In the
that
mountains.
movie's the shit. I don't care what anybody says.
I think the last thing I'd like to close out on
Okay.
is Rand Paul
Oh,
selling his libertarian soul out to the Christians of the United States.
should we after this start a segment called Randing?
Daily Rand.
Here's your weekly Rand.
Are you feeling Randy? So Rand Paul basically, so he's supposed to be the libertarian hero of the Republican right-wing bullshittery, right? So he's supposed to be for limited government, all about liberty, liberty, freedom. Everybody loved the U.S.
Yeah.
And he recently said that the First Amendment, quote, the First Amendment says keep government out of religion. It doesn't say keep religion out of government.
Mr. Rand, it goes both ways.
Mr. Paul.
Mr. Paul, fucking Mr. Shitface. It
Mr. Pubehead.
It goes both ways.
I take this to mean that Rand Paul is all for Sharia law.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
a Christian Sharia,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
a Krishia.
polygamy.
What really bugs me about the libtard people is that they don't really believe in a libertarian system way of doing things, and it really bugs the shit out of me because if you look at libertarian, it has nothing. It's been co-opted by the right by like
Completely. Yeah.
every other
There are a
political
lot
way
of
doing things.
libertarian ideals that I can get behind, but the libertarians basically
are owned by
they're
the hard
owned by
right.
the hard right. Absolutely.
And like there's a whole series of sci-fi books where I was reading them at one point, and I'm sorry to go off topic here, but there's a series of books called Freehold, written by a Utah guy named Michael Z. Williamson. Really fucking good sci-fi series about how it would be to live underneath a libertarian rule. You know, prostitution is legal, drugs are legal, anything that you want to do is legal. You don't have a huge government. You don't have a huge legal system. You have essentially a very limited way of doing things, but you have a standing military kind of thing. It's a really good book series.
Self-governing society.
It's a really fucking good book series. But then you introduce religion into it.
Yeah.
And
fucks
it
the world up.
fucks everything up.
Yep.
Yeah.
We already know that.
Rand Paul is just one of the worst pandering assholes that I've ever seen.
He'll say
At least his dad had the ability to go, no, I don't believe in everything that they say there. But Rand's like, whatever you want me to say, I want your vote.
I will
Please
say
vote
and
for
do
me.
anything to win the nomination. Let's hear
Oh, this fucking guy.
Mr. Paul in his own words.
Okay.
First Amendment says keep government out of religion. Doesn't say keep religion out of government. So you do have a role and a place here. I open the Senate each Wednesday morning, and we open it every day with a prayer. So you have prayer in your government. Our religion is part of our daily life and a part of our government, always has been. The one thing I would say is...
Looks like a hobbit.
And this is given as free advice. Don't always look to Washington to solve anything. And in fact, the moral crisis we have in our...
Wait, he just said this happens every day.
Yeah.
Don't look to Washington to solve anything.
What's wrong with Washington?
This is what we do every fucking
shit.
day, and don't look to us for anything because we're stupid.
Country, there is a role for us trying to figure out things like marriage. There's also a moral crisis that allows people to think that there would be some sort of other marriage, and so there's a role outside and inside government, but. I think the exhortation to try to change people's thoughts also has to come from the countryside, from everywhere outside of Washington. In fact, we're the most disconnected city on the planet from the people.
But I choose to work here.
Faith in what's going on up here doesn't mean don't participate with us up here and try to make it better. Definitely do, but realize, like every other problem, that I think, I've said this before, we need a revival in the country. We need
Christian revival.
Another great awakening with tent revivals of thousands of people saying, reform or you see what's going to happen if we don't reform.
He doesn't seem very convicted about that, but I may be wrong.
I would like to
Exhortation
talk
is
to
a
you,
word,
Chris,
but-
about revivals more next week.
Tent revivals are just such a fucking snake oil salesman bullshit that exists out there. It's like you go out to church in the middle of nowhere in a parking lot in some flea market somewhere that let's have a tent revival. It's like, yeah, you're just trying to get the people that are already ultra right, ultra religious to believe even harder, and it's not much of a sale.
No, it's not.
No, not at all.
I mean, it's not hard to get people that believe that Christ died for your sins, that the way to atonement is to let priests know or to let people know that you have sinned, to get a rebirth in the blood of Jesus kind of thing. It's not much of a sale from that point to speaking in tongues, to celebrating with snakes, to the God will protect me from the venom of these snakes, even though I'll die after being bitten by one.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bunch of fucking horse shit.
I mean, as a kid going to stuff like this, it's kind of cool because you're like, man, these people really believe this shit. But at the same time, you look at it as an adult, going back to that time, you're like, what kind of shit were they selling people back then? It's like they're going for more than the 10%. They're going for, I want half your paycheck,
Yeah.
And I honestly looked for. Before coming on the show, I haven't actually done any of this stuff in the last couple of months, or even since I've become an atheist. I haven't actually looked for the place that I went to church as a kid. I hadn't actually looked for the church. I haven't actually looked for the pastor that was there at that time. I actually started researching it this week. I can't find the guy anywhere.
So he's in jail for pedophilia.
It makes me wonder if maybe he joined the Clergy Project. Maybe he. I kind of hope that's the case, but I really honestly, before coming on the show this week, I wanted to find the guy and be like, hey, I wanted to let you know I have become an atheist. And it's not because of anything you did. You did your job the way that you were supposed to do as a religious salesman. Yeah. Let's not call them pastors. Let's call them religious salesmen. Yeah. You did your job. I believed it at a time. I was one of those guys that used to go to Sunday school really reading the books of the Bible saying, chapter, verse, this is what it is. Believe it or don't. But as an adult nowadays, I wanted to go back and be like, hey, look, hey, Gary, I wanted to let you know. I'm not Gary Boswell. I couldn't find him anywhere. I tried looking up Facebook. And I got infinite time to do this shit at work. I mean, I am busy at work, but at the same time, I don't have enough shit going on that I can't Google search people. Like the worst thing you can do is let me know your name and where you live.
I got all your info.
I can find out who you are.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that about wraps it up for us this evening.
Yes.
Don't forget that we're on the Facebooks and the Twitters.
You can find us on Twitter at TGR Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at The Godless Rebelution.
I subscribed and liked both of them.
Be sure to check out Chris's Facebook page, Marathon Dad.
Amen.
And we'll see y'all next week, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Imagine there's no